This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Hey, Patriot, good. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. What's up, everybody? I see some hearts and stuff. Heck yeah. We've had a good week, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to. How do I add you as a co-host again? Um,
How do you do the what now?
sorry. How do I add you as a co-host?
You click my
Yep,
name. There you go. Yep.
yep. Okay, gotcha. Just
No.
give it a few minutes for people to
Yeah.
jump in.
Yeah, guys, go ahead. Share
Yeah.
the space. Let's get some people in here. Okay. A lot of you, I see a lot of returning faces here. Last week we set a goal. The goal was bond your rune, raise the bond. Kenton, how has that been going?
It's been going good. I'm having a steady stream of interest. People are reaching out. All sizes, like from 500,000 rune to a million. Sorry, from 5,000 rune to a million. Um, and everything in
Wow.
between. So yeah. And I should actually, now that I say that, I'm trying to keep my minimum at 10,000 rune. Like, God, trust me, I want to help everyone. I really do. But there's only so much time in my day, bandwidth, right? And if when you have the smaller minimums, that just means more people, and it's just too much to manage. So if anyone's butthurt about that, it's not that, please don't take it personally. And I know I think it's AutoStake and PFC Validator and Yangu. I think they're
Yes.
taking basically anyone. Um, so if you have, I think even if you only have 1,000 rune, I think they'll take you. So it's not just me, right? And it's not just those three guys either. There's dozens of node operators out there, right? Um, and it doesn't hurt to ask any of us, right? Anybody. Um, so yeah, but it's going good, man. And I hope I didn't jinx it by saying this. Like you saw my post in the Telegram group chat. I'm like, oh, this is going good. Like I want to keep going until we get to 120 nodes. And I really do. But then like as soon as you say it out loud, it's like, oh man, does that just like tell the universe it's not going to happen now? But No, I think if all the nodes in standby, if once everyone gets in, we'll be at 105 nodes total, um, and so 15 away from 120. And put it in context, I'm pretty sure in January before everything kind of fell apart, I think we're at 115 nodes. So we're really only 10 nodes away from where from beef like let's say
All-time high.
yeah, exactly. So I don't think it's crazy, man. I think we can do this. I think raising awareness and getting people to talk about it, it's working. People are pulling Rune off finance, which is great. I've talked to people who've never bonded before. So like this is fresh. These are fresh eyes, right? We're not just recycling existing bond providers between nodes. Like there are new people becoming bond providers, which is key, which is what we want, right? And um, yeah, some people are topping up their position, buying some more rune while it's cheap. So you net all of those effects, it's working. We stay with this, and I think we can get there. I don't think it's crazy.
Absolutely. This is by no means a lofty goal, and don't even feel bad for a second of putting out that thing in Telegram. I actually not only think that this goal is not lofty, it is very doable, and we are actively doing it. So guys, bond your damn rune, because we're going to get enough security and plus much, much more for Ruggiero to get started. This is so happening. I'm putting in the comments right now. I just put a list of every node operator that is available on X per their handle. Okay. They all have different conditions and terms. Kenton, for example, just disclosed that he has a 10K minimum. Yangu, PFC, and Autostake, they take a minimum 1,000 as well, which should be the reach of just about everybody. There is really no reason for us not to bond our rune, and the rewards are fantastic. Put a picture. I've been taking a few pictures on X. Right now, the APR for me is about 19%. And that's just earning rune on your rune. There's no impermanent loss as a bond provider. There's no reason not to bond your rune. And when you do that, you're taking it away. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Kenton, but I like to think of it, you're making the temporary circulating supply less because it's locked in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is great. I mean, you're going to make rune more of a hard asset. You're going to earn rune. Sorry about that. You're going to earn rune on your rune. Okay. And if you think that rune has a future, if you think THORChain has a future, particularly with Ruggiero, this is the time to bond your rune, because the rewards for rune are great while the price is so low. I mean, right now, bond providers and node providers are sucking up rune in fees, and it's staying in the system. This is fantastic. We're absolutely killing it. Let's take it up to a level 11 here. Let's keep going. Everyone, if you please help us with this campaign, reposting, putting out messages of, bond your rune. If you have somebody who holds rune, they've been holding on for a while, get them in there. I mean, there's no reason not to do this. And if we're going to make THORChain win, I think we have to do this collectively. I don't want the devs to feel like they have to code a solution when the solution is already in our hands. We've played that game before. This isn't a slant against the devs, but if we already have a solution, then let's just mobilize and get it done. That's my opinion.
Well, and we have done this before. The raise the caps campaign, right? That's when I first actually really got into the THORChain community. It was around that time, and it was exciting. Like, it was a great way to I can tweet this and raise the caps and become part of this something bigger than myself, and then actually see the results too. Like, the community wasn't the devs. The community raised 10 millions of TVL through that, right? And it was fun. It was exciting. Now, granted, that was peak bull market, right? So there's a lot more eyes, a lot more money floating around. We're kind of exact opposite sentiment right now, but we don't need tens of millions of dollars of rune. We just need, right now it'd be about $20 million worth of rune, I think. So call it 20 million rune tokens, right? Whatever the price is. So I don't think it's that crazy. And even if you don't say you're already bonded, or maybe you don't have enough rune, maybe you only have 15 rune into your name, whatever, you can still contribute by reposting, right? Raise the bond, get that message out there. Everyone can do it. It's not just like you said, after on the devs to do something. We can all do something, and the more that message gets out there, it just gets on people's minds, and somebody who might have been on the edge or maybe not have been thinking about it, all of a sudden is, and that's the gentle push they need to move forward. So it's that kind of grassroots marketing that does work and helps get the message out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of amazing people in this community. I see a few in here. I see Koitsu. I see Oleg. I see a lot of familiar faces. But if you think of yourself as ordinary, I promise you, you're not. I mean, the percentage of the population that understands THORChain and knows its potential, it's like 0.0000 something percent. Okay, you are in the top tier of just nuanced knowledge. So you can display great agency by taking it upon yourself to spread the message of what THORChain is and the plan and the strategy to get it to the next level. And that's going to involve all of us, guys. We all do this. Like, if anyone, and by the way, this is an open forum. If anyone wants to ask any questions or come up, make any comments, please hit the microphone. We'll get you up here. But this is up to us, guys, and we're doing it, as you can see. Let's keep doing it. Let's bring more and more people into the fold, and not just THORChads. But I would love to see a lot of the Ruggierans, and they have been, contribute this as well, because the moment we get over this threshold, you guys can fly. And that's why I'm doing this. I want you guys to have lots of liquidity. that you can be able to use on your same. And then once we get those fees going on, I just think that's black hole liquidity time, right? You get more fees, more people want to buy Rune, more bond. You get more of the burn too. By the way, Kenton, let me take a little divergence here. Have you thought about? I know it's a little soon, but have you thought about upping the burn as a means to improve the price?
Oh man, you had a huge tangent. I had a lot of other things I want to add to your previous thoughts,
how about
but
do that first? Do that first if you want.
do that first. The burn. Answer that
No.
question?
Your other thoughts, and then we'll go to the burn.
Okay, yeah. Well, first I want to give a shout out to Make Mine Be on Twitter. I love his memes with James Bond. They're awesome. And so it's just so cool to see them. Oh shoot, what else did I want to bring up? If there's any node operators listening and we don't have your handle on that list that Patriot posted, reach out to us. Tell us your handle. Like, this isn't exclusive, right? These are just the operators and their handles that we know of, right? If you're a brand new node operator, you don't have any nodes yet, definitely reach out. This isn't just about Kenton trying to run as many nodes as I can. I don't. I want to run a few, but not as many as possible. Part of this goal is decentralization. So if you're a brand new node operator and you need help getting bond providers, definitely let us know. And I'm quite positive every other node operator on that list would agree. We want you up there. Like, we want to diversify the operator set. And just to add to that, I've seen there's always going to be a hater online, right? Always some negative Nancy. And some people are saying, oh, this campaign will never work. You're not going to raise enough Rune just to have enough security to scale up layer, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. You might even be right, but we can at least add more nodes. And if we get more node operators, that's huge. Because if you really do believe in getting rid of the hard cap altogether, we need more node operators, right? Not just more nodes, but more node operators. And they need bond. They need, right now, to get bond providers to get their nodes in the network. So getting to that 120 nodes with multiple different operators, that helps decentralize the network and make it more secure. So it isn't just a story about getting the more Rune bonded. It's about getting more nodes and node operators too.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And let's table the burn conversation because I don't want to get into it.
Yeah. White Eye has joined us. He's got his hand up. Yeah.
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. I had a question about the specific aspect of bonding, and I see Chad is here. He might be able to answer this, or Kenton.
Can we just, guys? I want to make before we get started. I don't want to call people out in the audience if they just want to linger and listen. I don't want them to be pressured to come up. So right. Yeah.
It's just a protocol thing, and it's something I haven't found the answer to. Nodes that exceed 1 million Rune, bonded Rune, they don't earn anything past 1 million. And I was curious where the 1 million, it's not a cap, but where that 1 million limit came from, and what the ramifications would be of raising that.
So it's how right now the effective security cap is the bottom 2/3 of the nodes. Their bond.
Yeah. Okay.
You understand that?
Yeah.
So basically that max efficient bond is the highest. If you look at the node that's at the top of those 2/3, or the node at the bottom of 1/3, whatever amount of Rune they have bonded, that's the max efficient level. So if you're on the THORChain.net/nodes and you go sort the nodes by bond size, mm-hmm. and from highest to lowest, go down to number 33 or whatever, 30, whatever 1/3 works out to. Look at their bond size for that node, and that's what the max efficient bond level is. So as the number of nodes change and their total amount of bond changes, so does whatever node lands in that 1/3 position, whatever their total bond is going to fluctuate the max efficient value. Does that make sense?
Oh, I see now. I got it now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I will be honest, like when that came out, I was like, well, I get it, because the theory was if you to hack the network, you only needed 2/3 of nodes. We could just have 2/3 of the lowest bond, and that would be enough to attack. So before it was 2/3 of all of the bond, like all say 100 nodes.
Okay.
But that left room for somebody kind of could eke in there, and I'm like, well, I do agree, that's pretty very strict. Like, how much could they really get away with, and is it really that possible? So, in my mind, relaxing that is fine. It's funny. So that was implemented when people were really hardcore strict about the security, making it extremely unlikely for anyone to hijack the network.
Yeah, it's okay. I get it. It's a kind of a side effect of a security model. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. Okay, I think I got
Yeah.
it. That answers that question. It's one thing I've never heard answered before. I could never figure out the answer to that, and I was like, I'll ask somebody that might know.
And I know because I'm in the nodes with bonds. I'm a bond provider too, so I'm watching it. So when I have a node, if the rune, let's say the max efficient is 1 million, and that node gets to 1,050,000, well, now I've got 50,000 rune not earning any yield, right? For me personally, or even for the node operator. So it's just a waste. It's not doing, and it's also not even contributing to the security of the network,
Right.
because it's only the bottom 2/3 of those node operators bond contributing to security. So that 50,000 rune really isn't doing anything. I mean, you could argue that if you get churned out, that'll help you get churned back in because you got the highest bond. But I mean, how often does it really happen? And
Yeah. So it would just act as like a buffer essentially.
yeah, so that's why I've been in mainnet trying to like kind of be a bit of a Karen, and calling out some of those larger nodes with larger bond size. Hey, reshuffle this. It's about 2 million rune basically doing nothing for no one. So
Well, most of the nodes have most of the node operators have listened to you on that. I've seen some positive response from them, so that's good.
Yeah. And I hope they don't. I hope they appreciate what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be a dick or like tell people what to yeah, man, do this and do that. I'm trying to help us all, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of new people listening in, guys. Please just take a second to repost the space. If you're listening to the recording, please repost immediately because we want this to be a campaign that reaches as many ears as possible. And so far, as we said in the beginning, for those who are just turned in, we've had a very successful week. As Kenton was talking about, we've had node operators begin to streamline their bond, make it more efficient by reducing their bond when it is over that 1 million threshold and adding more security to the network. We've had tons and tons of people become bond providers, tons. And I have not seen a single bond provider. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone here can say they've had a bad experience, but not a single person has said it's been a bad experience. It's really easy. And you're earning finally yield on your rune. Such an easy win, guys. And as I said earlier, this is the time to bond if you believe that rune has a great future, which I hope everyone in this room does. So, guys, what can we be doing better here? I want to take this to level 11. I'm never satisfied with success. We can always ramp it up. So, I just think we need to keep galvanizing people. If you've seen the results what we had, guys, I hope you're a believer now. We absolutely can get over this threshold. Absolutely. And I think we're actively doing it. But Kenton, did you have any other ideas or suggestions at all?
First, I'll just remind everyone that we're accepting all speakers. So if anybody wants to come up and chat, ask questions, bring something up, you're welcome to. I don't know, what else could we do? I just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I think it's a winning strategy.
Yeah, just keep reposting stuff, post stuff, create something. I don't know if anybody saw my post about the guy mailing potatoes. But I had kind of an underhanded reason for sending that out. It's like, a lot of people, they just don't act because they're scared of, what somebody else might think or say or whatever. Like, who cares? Just do it, just get out there, put yourself out there. A good example of that is, and I'm going to go on a tangent, is this TCY bull. I don't know if you guys are following him on Twitter, but he's been basically bull posting about TCY, and I mean his account's blown up, and I think he's even getting. I don't want to jinx it, but I think he's gotten ALEX on some like big podcast to talk about TCY, and this is a guy who's just like every other THORFi person out there. He's like, well, instead of lamenting about my situation, what can I do positively about it? And he's doing something very positive, and he's making a difference. So and a few weeks ago his account was zero. He had that TCY account is brand new. So TCY Bull is his handle. But it's a really good example of like, you put your mind to something, you can do it. And there's so many smart, motivated, good people in THORChain. Like, what is there, a few hundred of us, a few thousand, if we're all working together to try and do something, like I'm positive we can do it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the scale of the problems that we fixed so far, right? I mean, all the problems that we've incurred throughout our history when it came to ChaosNet. Now that was mostly developers, but then a lot of people who are not necessarily active developers have contributed and helped in many ways. But if we've ever had a problem in this protocol, we have risen to the occasion and figured it out. This problem before us, this is not a hard problem, okay? And what I would rather stress to devs, or no, add stress to devs, excuse me, I misspoke. Instead of them thinking of solutions to let's just maybe have an artificial increase in security just to get it running. Let's get it to the point where we have 120 nodes. There's active bond wars. And now the developers are thinking, well, gosh, should we start thinking about ways where we can add Asgard vaults to increase the total number of nodes? I want that to be the problem. I want the problem of scaling to be where we actually need more Asgard vaults, because we're at 120 and the competition to churn in is very fierce. That's
a good point you bring that up, because that, just for if people don't know, that 120 number, it's an arbitrary limit set on the network right now. And the thinking was at the time is that if there's more nodes than that, the network, the block times slow down, and transactions and swaps and everything slow down. But we've never really hit the limit. So there's really been no impetus or rush or reason to do anything to change it, right? If we get to 120 nodes on the network and there's, say, 10 on standby trying to get in, and you have true bond wars, that does force the dev's hands. Okay, well, this is a problem we need to deal with now. We don't want to exclude those 10 nodes. We want them in the network. We want that extra bond. We want, that's never been an issue before. So, there's no point really working on it. But yeah, if we can get there and it does become a priority, and again, how does that help the average ordinary rune holder? It's more decentralization, more nodes, more security, right? We can't, I think we all agree, more nodes the better, right? So yeah.
Kenton, that 120 cap, I may be wrong, but I was under the impression that it is an arbitrary number, but it relates to performance problems that Cosmos begins to have after scaling out too much. Is that right?
Yeah. There's a quadratic increase in computational need when you go higher than that. But not to Chad's probably busy. I don't want to necessarily come up here, but I've talked to him before. It was years ago, and there are ways that we can actually increase that number. And then when you tie in all the optimizations that are likely going to come to THORChain with slower or faster block times, and all the other good things. This is something that we can address, definitely within our realm of possibility. And it's something that I want to get to. I really do. I think we can get there, guys.
I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure it's the plan for this year is to make the changes necessary to the code, that we can go above that 120 node limit and without slowing the network down. I think that's the point of reducing the block times. And I think, have you guys seen JP tweet about DKLS on VaultSig? Something needs to be improved with the MPC of TSS. And forgive me, guys, if devs listening, I know I'm going to butcher this, but it's like those two things combined is what need to be fixed on THORChain before we can increase the node limit without slowing things down, because those two things will dramatically speed up THORChain. So even though we're increasing the node limit, which does slow things down from the Tendermint point of view, we've made so many improvements on efficiencies that we, whatever, it nets out positive in the end. You follow me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, and one thing that we mentioned last week that I definitely want to bring up again is there is also a push in the community to make new node operators. I know you touched on this earlier, Kenton. If you are someone with some skill, you're not sure, maybe, you've never used Kubernetes, or maybe you have just a little bit of experience. If you want to take this on, there are people like Runtard, and there's a whole developer Discord that is willing, able, and motivated to help you learn the skills to become a node operator. Yes, it is technically challenging for sure, but it is something that you can do if you think you have the skills. And I encourage you to do it. Please, if you are that person listening to this right now, if you've got some skill, reach out to me, reach out to Kenton, reach out to Dev Discord. We'll help you out. We just want more node operators. We want to decentralize the network as much as we possibly can. More node operators makes us much healthier, right? Like Kenton and I don't get rewards from that. No other node operator gets more rewards if you become a node operator. But by decentralizing that network, you're going to increase the hardness of this network and build a more confidence in the market for THORChain. That's what people, I think, really loved about THORChain, is that confidence it gave because of its decentralized nature. And I think we've proven that THORChain is adequately decentralized now, but we can even go even more. Let's make this protocol as hard and as tough as possible. So reach out if you've got the skills. And if you're not sure, reach out anyway. Let's give it a shot. Does anyone else want to come up and speak? Open mic. Just feel free. Questions, comments, anything like that. Go for it.
Oleg did post a question to you, Kenton, in X in reply to the spaces.
I don't
Okay, let me see here. What do you think? Opening Discord to non-dev community for allowing any pings. This may. Oh, I think I know what he's asking. Like, basically, people can't talk about price and, like, run to the moon, that kind of stuff, and just have like general kind of anything goes. Is that what you mean, Oleg?
I think he's talking about taking the dev Discord and making a specific channel within it that's available for public use. Because historically, the dev Discord has been almost exclusively dev chat.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think there needs to be, like, I think the moderators do and I think the mods do a fantastic job of keeping it just like kind of dev focused. But in turn, I think that puts a lot of people off. People just want to come chat and hang out, and the more periphery people, and we need them, right? We need that those periphery people who aren't devs or don't necessarily want to talk about dev stuff. They buy a few $1,000s a rune, they buy $50,000 a rune, right? And that's that retail audience, like that helps, especially in crypto. So yeah, I agree with that. Now, who moderates that?
Yeah, I don't want to put that on filters.
Yeah, I'm not raising my hand for that. I mean, I would definitely check it out. Maybe. Yeah. Well, maybe that's the one rule. It's not moderated. Hey, this is free speech, right? And anything goes. You guys, this is your own arena. Talk about whatever you want. The one thing with that I can see is it's just going to get turned into a bunch of noise. So I don't know. But
I
would say that before we could do anything, if that was a okay thing to do, it should be run by 9R, because they currently have stipulations about this. Like, it should bare minimum be run by Familiar Cow, and see what he thinks. It certainly is possible on Discord to, say, limit lots of the other channels to people with only a certain role, so devs or important community members, whomever, and then leave the other one kind of open for just general chatter by anybody that joins. So that is certainly doable. And then devs could just turn off notifications for the general community channel, and then they won't get pinged on it anymore. That's a possibility.
Yeah, I do kind of like the idea of having some channels only for certain participants, because like I don't direct message anybody. I try to talk to everybody in Discord in public, and let other people read it and see so they understand what's going on. Because for me, it's difficult. I can tell that there's behind the door conversations going on. I'm like, I don't know what's all talked about, right? I'm out of the loop. And but in Discord, I can be in the loop. Right? I can eavesdrop, I can read and learn. That's how I got into THORChain in the first place. And that's why I committed to it, because I thought everyone did a fantastic job of keeping the communication public. Here I am. I don't know anyone. No, I don't know any node operators. I don't know the core developers. I don't know anyone in THORChain. I'm just some random Joe off Twitter who just came across it, and I just started digging to it. And I could get up to speed. I could learn everything and who's involved, who's doing what, how everything works, the agreements, the disagreements, blah, blah, blah. And I was able to work my way up intellectually up to the similar level as everyone else. And that's why I got involved, because I'm like, well, if I can do this, others can, right? And that's the key to decentralization, is that anybody and everyone can join. And here's the knowledge base for them to do that. Because if the only way to gain the knowledge is by having private conversations, this won't go anywhere, right? You can't scale. So where I was going with this is, I think it would be good to have some channels where maybe only some certain seasoned community members can talk, because I think part of the reason some longer term community members don't post in Discord, it just turns into this barrage of random people who've only been in Discord for a month, just running their mouths, and it takes away from the longer term community members from talking to each other, which I think is really valuable. To really, when we have those conversations and we disagree and we hash things out in the Discord channel, the newbies and whatever might not be able to talk, but they can at least read it and get up to speed and see what everyone's talking about. So I like that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't like to ban people from the dev Discord, because I want them to be able to read.
Yeah.
That's a really important part of it. I think there's a couple ways of solving that. I know that the THORChain University Discord, Bones has been pretty open about trying to have that as the community chat Discord, but it never really went anywhere. I don't think 9R really ever followed up with him on it. And I have my own idea of what might work better for general community consensus, like presenting something to 9R or something without a random schmo having to write an ADR, because I don't think anybody is really so up to that. I think that's a very limited number of people that could do that. But the community needs a way to kind of put their weight, if they feel the need to put their weight behind something, that there could be essentially like a person or set of people that could go to bat and make that argument. I in my mind, there's an existing company and game out there, EVE Online. The company that runs it is CCP, no relation to Chinese CCP. And they have community appointed individuals that are called CSMs that listen to the community and what they want. So these are the gaming community, and then they compile a list of all the high priority things, and then they go to the company and say, hey, these are the things the community is really upset about or things that they're happy about. Can you guys work on this? And they work directly with the company to make those things happen. And that's been in place for 20 years. So it kind of flies in the face of a decentralized model, but it at least would allow the SNR in the Discord to remain somewhat high. And for areas where people just want to chat and keep it low, that's fine. At least they would have an avenue of saying okay, this is like a common topic that comes up over and over and over. So it's just an idea. It's been floating around in my head for a while.
Yeah, for that point of view, I think it's good, because I do that too. I'll how do I say this? So I manage money for a living, right? So I want to just for anyone else to know, I have a fund. My mandate is to invest in Rune and run nodes on THORChain. That's kind of how I got involved in THORChain. And when you're managing money, you always I want the biggest clients, right? I want a client with $1 million, not a client with 1,000, right? I make more money with more money. But I'll often talk to people that can't be my client, or I don't necessarily want as a client, because it's good research, right? Because they'll tell me what they want, what they're looking for, their fears, their goals, whatever, and you start to notice trends and common conceptions or common problems or whatever, and we're all human. Whatever is affecting the person with $1,000 is also affecting the person with $1 million, right? Just because you have more money doesn't mean you have different problems. We all have the same problems. And so where I'm going with this, if there's like a community channel and you have a few thousand people all screaming and yelling the same thing, fine, they can't write code, or maybe they're not really contributing much else to the network, but they are contributing in helping us pick out what the main pain points are. Right. And that can help focus everyone's time. Like, okay, we've got a few thousand people telling us that X is really bugging them. That's not something we ignore, right? That's something we need to address. So there is value in that.
Of course. And I think one of the things that Telegram specifically has been really effective is whenever there's been a problem, and this doesn't happen nearly as much, but back in the early days, if there was some sort of bug or edge case, I would get a bunch of people in Telegram say, hey, what's going on here? Where's my asset? Why, blah, blah, blah. What happened with this? And then I would forward that information, which essentially crowdsourcing in a decentralized way, important things. And I would forward that to the devs like, hey, what's going on here? And then usually it was something quite big. I like the idea of having a general chat in Discord. That's not really paid attention by the devs or anything, but if something important happens, that actually might reduce the latency between, this thing being discovered and then devs being made aware, because a lot of the time it's just contingent on whether or not I'm looking at Telegram at that time, or I happen to be awake, right? Because I'm a person, I have to drive sometimes multiple hours a day. And that might actually be a good thing to do. And also if we had that general chat room where anyone can participate in, I like that idea because it gets people more engaged and it increases the well of people that are up to date on the various information. Because even though if they can't contribute to like the dev section, they can read it. And then maybe we can get another Kenton type person to come in. That's a money manager, or just a really smart person come in, because you never know these avatars. Most of these avatars in here, I don't even know. I mean, there can be an absolute billionaire listening to this right now. Who knows? And I think if we just have more engagement like that, then we can even make a campaign that we're talking about right now. It's like raising the bond. We can grow this community. That's what we need. We just need more people. We need to decentralize this thing and have these people bring in more people. And it's just like this positive feedback loop. That's what
exactly. Like, White Eye, for example, like, I'm not even sure if I can post this Twitter space in the dev Discord or post raise the bond. I don't want to get banned. I don't want to get in trouble. So, but if it's in a community channel, I could post that stuff and help, try and spread the message.
I don't think I'm laughing. I don't think you'd get banned, but I'm one person. All of us mods in there we're all kind of aligned. We're 75% aligned, and then there's a 25% difference. So if somebody feels something is not appropriate, they'll just take it upon themselves to do what they need.
Can I clarify something real quick? Wade, since I have you up here, what is the purpose of the X Discord? Is it okay if Kenton, being a node operator, if he helps push X links in there? Or what is the purpose of that? Is that to highlight important updates from, like, could you just give me some clarity there?
When you say the X Discord, what are you referring to?
The specific part in
channel.
the Dev Discord channel. Thank you. I'm an idiot. Channel that has X/Twitter. What's that meant for?
Oh, is this on the Dev Discord?
Yeah, Dev Discord. Yes.
I might have that channel hidden.
Okay.
I don't know. Let me go look. I'll figure it out. I'll answer that question in a little bit.
Because I posted links in there and no one's ever given me any flack. But yeah, like Kenton was saying, I just we want the ability. I want the community to exercise more agency, right? And if we're able to do that, then that just wins for us. The more people we can get active and less, fearful or whatever the roadblock may be, That's just going to work for THORChain, not only in the short term, but in the long term as well. Guys, it's been a little bit. Please share the space. I want people to hear this, especially the recording. Please share it anyway. We're raising the bond. So bond your rune. It's very easy to do. In the comments for people who are just turning in, we have a whole list of node operators that are available. Kenton, the speaker up here, is a node operator. I'm going to promote him just a little bit, but he would be happy if you bonded with anybody. He does not care. We just want more people, but he has a 10,000 minimum. He has a 25K limit needed if you want to request to churn out the node. Okay, but if you have a very small amount of rune, we have AutoStake, PFC. We have Yangu as well. And if there's another node operator that accepts small rune bonds like that, please let me know. It's hard for me to remember everyone's terms and conditions. I'm getting better at it though.
Patriot, the answer to your question is it's kind of open-ended.
Perfect. Okay, good.
It looks like you could absolutely post that there. That's for Kenton, and it's also for people to bring up suggestions for what the official THORChain account on X should be posting, which I know in recent days there have been a small number of users who have been very frustrated that the main THORChain account is not posting stuff like status indicators of where we are with the TCY bit and the THORFi decommission bits and all those types of things. So that would be the channel to do all that in, I think.
Yeah. And that's understandable. I like THORChain, the main channel. I think the comms when it comes to posts should be pretty professional as they can be. I don't know I don't think the meme kind of strategy is good for the main thing, but for like X spaces like this, I think using that, we should probably use that profile and we can get more of an audience. And I think Kenton does a great job, so I would recommend someone like Kenton, if just throwing it out there. And we can start doing these spaces because this is when we get into the nuance, we can start, giving a little personality, maybe even having a little fun, being edgy here and there. But for post itself, I think that should be pretty professional, and we probably could increase the frequency of that. But I think overall it's done decently.
And just to let people know too, like the kind of the genesis of me and Patriotsounds starting to do these spaces is because I missed the original spaces too, right? The weekly ones with the THORChain account with 9R and Chad. I tune into those all the time, and they just kind of fell, over the last several months. It just became less and less, and I noticed that. I noticed the community. They keep asking, "When's the space? We're gonna have a space. What's going on?" And so me and Patriot just kind of connected and we're like, well, hey, let's do these. Let's start doing them. So, we're trying to pick up the slack. I'm not going to pretend that I can replace Chad or 9R or anyone like that, but do something, right? So that's what Patriot and I kind of agreed to do. I think Saturdays seem to work best for me and you. So yeah, I think we're going to try and do these weekly on Saturdays. And if the main account wants to start doing spaces again, great. This isn't to like compete or replace or anything like that. We're just trying to help fill a void, give something for people to chew on, something to do.
100% supplemental. And if other people want to start their own THORChain space in here, please, I would beg you, if you want to start one on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I don't care. I just want to increase the amount of people that can learn about THORChain. And there are very smart, I'm guarantee half the audience in here is smarter than myself. You have tremendous capability to assert your agency and to make change. If we want THORChain to become the next Binance, the decentralized Binance, we're all going to have to put a little work in, and we absolutely can make that happen. I think we've proven that, actually. This community, just in the last week, has shown overwhelmingly that we can rally behind a mission and we get something special going. The node operators have been absolutely great. I've been actually giving node operators in the Telegram, I've been giving them mod titles so people can identify them. I've been chatting with a lot of them, increasing my personal relationship with them, which is great because then I can, if there's anyone who tends to scam or anything like that, that's good protection there. When we all start working together, we start to get to know each other, and that just only improves unit cohesion, which I think is fantastic. So please, guys, just get involved. Do something. Oh, another thing I should say, actually, there's a Bitcoin conference coming in Las Vegas. I will be at that conference. If anyone can come, I think it's in May. I can't remember the date, but I think it's in May. Please go to that. I would love to meet you guys in person. When we connect and like you see, I'm a real person. We eye contact, shake each other's hands, chat, go eat some food, we hang out. That personal relationship, that bond, that is irreplaceable. The space I'm giving you right now, there's no way I can mimic that. So I would encourage people to try and meet other THORChads or Rogerians or Mayans. Honestly, we're all the same community at this point. I honestly believe that. Improve your understanding of the community and get involved. I'm begging you to do that and bond your damn rune. Let's fucking go.
I'm going too, Patriot. So it'd be cool to meet you in person.
Oh, yeah, let's do it, man. Yeah, it's what we've been talking a lot. It's kind of it's weird. The internet is a weird thing to actually to consider someone your friend and you've never met them in real life and to be working all the time with them. So yeah, dude, I can't wait to meet you. And if you want to meet Kenton and me, come guys, come. And I know Butterfly is going to be there. A lot of people are going to be there. So show up and we'll go all hang out. We'll go do something fun.
Nice.
If anyone has any questions or anything, please request to speak, comments, concerns. If you're interested in being a bond provider and have questions, please come up. You know what I mean? You don't have to dox yourself. You don't have to, anything. We had THORMax, he's in the audience. You don't have to come up, THORMax, but he came up last week and he was just saying that it was such a great experience to be a bond provider. And it was perfect timing because we were talking about how easy it was. And he comes up and says, yeah, it's easy. I just did it. So guys, this is not hard. Actually, Kenton, give me a second. I'm going to go grab a link from the THORChain University on how to bond.
Okay. Yeah. And actually, no one's coming up, and maybe I don't want to change the subject, but maybe I will. So before I mentioned, people in the community, mentioning people talking about grievances, what they have issues with, what they want to see. And something that's been coming up a lot over the last few years is marketing. Everybody wants to see some kind of marketing. And I agree. It's been one of my issues as well. And so I started working on some ideas. And unbeknownst to me, so did Scorch, another node operator. And we eventually both realized we're working on kind of the same thing together. And so now we're working together and approach the treasury to get funding for some proper marketing. And I'm getting preliminary yeses. So I don't want to jinx it. I don't like saying stuff too soon, but it looks like we can get something moving forward. And but I think it's good to define marketing. The way I'm looking at it and what I want to do with it is to market, say, Trust Wallet, because I think the real problem with THORChain right now is we've got exposure to 275 million people. Apparently, if you trust all the wallets, all the front ends, if you go to their websites and you see all their downloads they purport to have, I'm assuming it's one download per person. You add it all up and you get to 275 million. Yet THORChain can, it basically does 50,000 users per month on average, which is 0.02% of that 275 million. There's something wrong there. Like either those front ends and wallets are lying about all those downloads, or there's some reason these people aren't placing swaps in those wallets. And I don't want to call anyone liars, but let's trust them that they're being honest. I think the issue is their users just don't know. I mean, how often do you go, when you're using an app on your phone, do you go look at its new features? You don't. Like you see an update, you just click update to go do whatever you wanted to do in the first place. You only go to use a feature on your app when you're thinking about like, I want to go do this, right? You're never sitting there exploring all of the different options, right? And so, in my opinion, I think what the problem is we've got 200 million people with Trust Wallet. They just have no idea that they can swap Bitcoin. And so my goal with the marketing is to reach those 200 million people and say, hey, listen, you can swap Bitcoin in your wallet. Look at this is how easy it is. And so it isn't to get another Cybertruck with THORChain logos on it. It isn't just some random press release to go out to 100 different websites. That's not what I'm referring to with marketing. We do want to do some of that to help repair the brand and the image online, but the primary goal is to get users. And I'm of the opinion we just need to educate them and tell them. And so, and the ask is very low, right? Like we're not asking people to go buy Rune to invest in THORChain. Like that's a huge ask. That's a huge hurdle to get over. To tell somebody who already has Trust Wallet to open it up and say, hey, look, you can swap Bitcoin. That's something they already want to do. They already have Trust Wallet. They don't have to download anything new. I'm assuming they already have crypto on the wallet. It's a very easy ask. It's a very low hurdle for them to get over. And so that's what I want to focus some marketing efforts and money on, and get from 50,000 users to 5 million. In my opinion, we should be at 1 million users by now. That to me, I don't know why. There's just something wrong there. There's something going on. So yeah. So hearing the community, an issue, we're gonna do some marketing. We're gonna try. So hopefully that gives everybody some hopium. Maybe that can start generating some more volume for us. And what's great about it is that has absolutely nothing to do with getting more nodes or more Rune in the bond or launching Appler. This is all stuff on layer 1. This is low hanging fruit, right? And well, that's what I'll be working on with Scorch here over the next couple months.
Well, I think that's great. And then, that's nothing to do with nodes or things like you said, but the downstream effects of that are actually quite positive. I mean, if we have more swap volume, then that helps everything. I don't know necessarily the context of the marketing, but I think everyone listening to this right now and who will be listening to this right now, if it's like some posts on X or whatever, if they have the ability to share it, I think we could galvanize a lot of people to not only, if the marketing costs funds to do it, we can also leverage our community to help promote that message as well. So I think this is a great initiative. And I think you're right, because even if if there's 275 million wallets, you could obviously logically conclude, well, maybe half those wallets aren't being used anymore, and maybe some people have multiple wallets. It doesn't matter. If you just took 1% of those wallets, that's 2.7 million wallets right there. And
yeah,
the fact that those are not, it's still a tiny fraction of the total amount that could be swapping. So yeah, I totally agree with you. There is huge ground, massive ground to be made here. So I'm really looking forward to this marketing thing. It can't hurt. It only can help.
Yeah, the worst is we lose some money from the treasury, right? And but in my opinion, it's money. Yeah, it's money well spent. Like we got to try something. And one of the arguments against my idea against doing this, like, well, Trust Wallet should be paying for it. The front end should be paying for it, and I agree. But either they aren't, or they're doing a bad job, or what, I don't know. But rather than just sit here on our hands and be like, well, they should do this, and what about this? And it's like, well, let's have some agency, right? Let's so I'm what I'm hoping is if something works, then we can go to say like a Trust Wallet or Ledger, whoever, say, listen, this is working, and this is how many affiliate fees you earned, and this is how many you're making. And if you can start doing some math to say, listen, if we scale this up, you spend X, you'll earn Y.
Right.
And then it becomes a really real no-brainer to do. So if we have to pay for that R&D to find the message and marketing that works, fine. It sucks. We make 16 basis points. Trust Wallet makes 70. Like it doesn't, but sitting here and doing nothing, I don't think helps us either. So
I like that idea a lot. Imagine if you could, I don't know if they would want, to get money or whatever, but imagine if Trust Wallet or Ledger, they made a promotion and said, hey, on April 15th or just random date, insert here, there's no affiliate fee for swaps, and really push that. And then you got people used to the idea of swapping on their apps, yeah, we would get fees. They may get nothing for that day, but they would have that experience of
It's a
swapping
good idea.
app. And
I didn't think of that.
I wonder if they'd be open to do that, right?
Well,
Because they have millions and millions of people on their on their accounts. Go ahead.
yeah. No, that's a great idea. And I'm just highlighting Trust Wallet because it's the biggest, simplest one, right? But
Yeah, top down.
but I would like to, talk to 9R and see if we can start, talking in Trust Wallet about this. Who knows what ideas they have? So you're absolutely right. And maybe they'll be willing to pay for it. Maybe we don't have to pay for it. Maybe we can convince them to pay for it, or pay for half, or whatever.
Doesn't it work for them if they just say, hey, on this day, you can swap. We're not going to charge you on our end for the swap, right? And they're not going to get revenue that day, but the downstream effects of that is they're just going to introduce potentially thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to the ability to swap in their app. I mean, I would do this if I was them. I would do this. You know what I mean?
It's a good it is a good idea, because in sales you want to
give a sample.
But you also what do you call it? You have to create some kind of urgency, right? Time to act.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And that's what gets people motivated to do something. So it's a good idea. And then to take it a step further, let's say we focus on Trust Wallet, work with them, figure something out that does work provably. Because we can track, right? We can track all the trades coming from Trust Wallet. We can track their size and the fees and all that, right? And so we should be able to correlate, the ad campaign versus the volume they have. Then we can take that to other wallets.
Right.
And hey, look, we've got a proven method. And then let's say it is working. Then Scorch and I can take this to the nodes and say, listen, we've got a proven strategy here. Let's take a portion of the revenue. Like there's 5% that goes to the dev fund. We could have 5% go to a marketing fund. And now we create this virtuous cycle of marketing. The more we put into these paid ads, the more users we get, the more volume, driving up the revenue, right? Yeah. And so maybe this will come back to your answer, but your question about increasing the burn. I'd rather put some of that money towards marketing first. I agree. There's like the biggest companies in the world spend like 10% of their revenue on marketing, and that's what gets them to be the biggest and stay there. Like, I'm sorry guys, like Bitcoin, THORChain is the coin. Like it's just, Bitcoin is this unicorn. There's, we all want to be as big, and Bitcoin has no marketing budget. It's all these different people working on it. I get it, but that's just not us. If we want to be getting in the top 10 crypto, we can. I think that's definitely possible. I think we could be. I still think we could be third, despite all what's going on in the last couple of months. But we're not going to be top dog, and to get to third, to get in the top 10 requires marketing. We got to get the message out there. We got to get users, right? And so yeah, there's but the key is figuring something out that works, right? We can't throw good money after bad. We got to start out small, see if we can find something that works. If it is, then we start scaling. And
I think that's right. I see your hand, NB. Welcome. I'm gonna have you talk in just a second. But I was just thinking, Kenton. I think maybe this might be something worth considering, where we have like a marketing division of THORChain. Like we kind of make it more official than that, And I like Kenton, guys. I don't get nothing like this. Kenton's just a great guy. I would nominate you for that position, honestly, because you're already in marketing. You're already having a vested interest in this network, not only as a node operator, but you've made things for free, like your educational video, which has helped me on-ramp so many people to quickly get in them acclimated to THORChain. So if this is something that the community wants to do, I I would beg you to make Kenton the lead of it, because he's just got good instincts, guys. I mean, you can tell that. He ain't gonna say that, but I can say it because I'm not him. So, okay, NB Labs, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Can I just answer that first, NB? Well, Patriot, to be honest, I've already nominated myself. So like me and Scorch were already working together, talking to JP and the Treasury about doing this. So like we're already moving it forward. If anybody wants to help, has ideas, think they can add value, but like join us. Like this isn't exclusive. But I don't want it to turn into 30 cooks in the kitchen. Like I'm not asking for any pay for this. We're gonna keep all the receipts, everything will all be in a Google Drive, so people can see where the money is going, what's being spent on what. So yeah, I'll just leave that. Sorry, NB.
No problem. I can listen hours to you guys.
Oh wow,
thanks, bro.
Thank you.
What you got for us, man?
How's everyone?
Doing all right.
Good, are you, man?
Good. Thank you. I have 2 questions. If that's allowed, I will not take everyone's time. So
no, go ahead. Open
ask
floor.
as many as you want.
Very much. The first one is about the station wallet. I follow the GitHub, so I see it is integrated, I guess, somewhere. But if it is not a big deal, I would love to have some information first of that. Thank you.
Which wallet?
The station wallet.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I have no idea.
Is that what ecosystem is that? Cosmos or
no? Yeah, Cosmos from the Luna community. It was a Terra Station wallet, and I know that's now owned by Thor.
Wait, do you know this one?
No, I think it's Station Wallet's come up a couple times in chat, but I don't.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything about it. You're saying there was something in GitLab for it recently?
In GitHub, yes. I just saw that it is related with THORChain. So because we have now 110 validators, it could be something with that, I thought. But it was the best to ask you guys first.
I'll do a little bit of sleuthing, but we don't have too much stuff in GitHub though. Most of the stuff for THORChain is all in GitLab. So I want to make sure you're looking at the right thing, but I'll do a little bit of sleuthing. I'll see what I can find.
Please, I follow you. So if we could get some more information, I would be very happy with that.
Sure, you're welcome. No problem.
I sent you a DM as well to just make sure that I got contact with you in case I hear anything as well.
For multisig.
Okay.
Yeah, that would explain why I don't. Okay. Yep.
Got you. Yes, that now I remember.
So they'll be adopting the multisig tech, and then I guess eventually rebranding.
Yeah, and multisig is in GitHub, so you might want to ask on the multisig Discord.
Okay.
I'll send that to you.
Okay. Well, the issue is GitHub is closed here where I live, sadly. So I missed much of the information, but yeah, that was the first. The second is that I am a pro investor, and I see that GP has announced also that if we merge our coins with Tor, then we get the 5 coins distributed after 31 March.
I think he might merge with Thor. I don't know. Are you talking about Voltisig, like the new Voltisig asset?
Yeah, 5 of them.
Okay, then yeah, this is a little new. So Voltisig, JP, he's the main developer of THORChain, and but this community is getting so vast, it's so hard for me. I just don't have enough bandwidth to keep up on everything. But I sent you a DM in your messages of the Voltisig Discord. So I'm assuming you can get that. Things change every day, man. It's so hard for me. I don't know if anyone up here has any.
I can't connect Discord, but that's not a problem. I will just follow from anywhere.
I will. I'll get that information for you. I'll make that my.
Thank you very much. I love what you guys doing.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think that integration might have fallen through. I know JP mentioned it. They were supposed to merge, like all of JP's pet projects. It was supposed to be Vault, Deca, Yieldy. I'm forgetting the other. Oh, Rujira. Like they were supposed to airdrop those to Pearl holders, but I haven't heard about anything regarding that in weeks or maybe even months. So that might have fallen through.
Oh, because
Max
it is official on their X and also on Telegram, and I had I found I'm not wrong that they GP mentioned it a few times that the people on Pearl still have time till 31 March, so March, sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah, he definitely mentioned it. But when I was looking through the Sig documents, I couldn't find anything about it. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, just saying that he did mention it. Like I know it was
yes.
pseudo official at one point. I just don't know what's happening now because I don't see the allocation for that for Regira or Vault.
We might want to you might just want to tweet JP and just ask him directly. I mean, I'm sure he'll be really forthcoming and honest about where that all stands.
I tried to reach him on a few platforms, but I think he's just too busy with everything. So yeah,
that's fair. That's true.
So
he does have his fingers in a lot of projects. So.
No,
This is very true.
Yeah, so I am a little bit stuck. I just invested there and merged all my coins with hoping that I could get some coins and on Thor. So what I hear now is disappointing me. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I would say just wait it out. It may be something that falls under the Regira integration later on, but I don't know about coin merging or integrations in that sense. All I know about that is just what's on the roadmap that might have been slightly derailed because of the THORFi ordeal. So there's a lot of things in the air right now, but we'll see if we can find out.
Okay, thank you guys for what you're doing.
Well, and B, are you in Discord? Like, have you tried the Multisig Discord or Regira Discord? Tried asking in there?
The issue is I can't connect Discord from my.
What about Telegram?
I can. I am on all channels, but
Okay,
when I ask the admins, then there's no clue, or I don't know.
Okay, so you're in the Regira Telegram.
Let me check.
I sent you a link. I sent you a link in your DMs. Go ahead and check that real quick. I'm going to go to another speaker up here, but
sure.
For the Regira one. So, and then maybe you can get your answer in there. I have no idea how to say your name, bro. Urosh, whatever. Go ahead, man. What you got? Go ahead. You're still muted.
It's Urosh. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to comment on the station wallet. I was just briefly disconnected, so I don't know. Did you answer this one or was it not?
No, we did not answer it.
Not
okay,
really.
so
we think it's a Multisig thing rather than a THORChain thing. So
well, as far as I know, because I've joined. There was like Regira Spaces like a few weeks ago, and they were talking about it. So basically, as far as I understand, Station Wallet that's the previous Luna wallet, and it's going to be used for Regira. So it's going to be a front end for the mobile device, and basically they chose the Station Wallet because it's already in Play Store on Android and in iOS, so it's easier to get in. That's the main thing.
Okay.
Just wanted to give this context. Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, you're welcome.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it just shows you how fast this I mean, like I said earlier, the ecosystem is really not just THORChain anymore. It's Maya Protocol, it's Regira, it's Multisig, it's every single interface that's connected to THORChain. The tendrils of our ecosystem are growing, and this gets me so excited about Kenton's idea about marketing, because we can really make this growth. It was already exponential last year, like literally it was exponential growth, but we can kick this into overdrive this year, guys. We really can do this. Think about everything we've been through and everything that we've gotten to. I mean, yeah, we've had some knocks, but there's a lot of silver linings here, particularly the last speaker mentioned THORFi. Well, that's, it's going to be resolved soon. All right. Wasn't pretty, but it's no longer on our books. We don't have this liability anymore. TCY is going to come out. We got rid of block rewards. Now, the entire THORChain is now entirely self-sufficient on fees earned. This is an incredible accomplishment. I don't there's not many protocols that can even get anywhere close to what we've accomplished already, and the fact that some of that is being burned, which is, we have really done something here, you guys. So if there is ever a time to grow, it's now. And particularly with the announcement from my own government about lifting the sanctions on Tornado Cash. Took them a long time, but we got there. I think we're looking at green pastures here, but it's only going to work if we all work together and if we're aggressive, very aggressive about promoting THORChain, about all the interfaces, marketing, raise the bond your rune, buy more rune, then bond that, right? If we all do this, I am so very excited. I haven't been this excited in a very long time.
Well, and look at we actually have some success today. Look at our community, right? We didn't know, you or I didn't know anything about Station Wallet, and we had 2 community members jump up and answer. And this is awesome, right? Like, you know, multiply that thousands of times over. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just too much going on. So people wanting to volunteer information, please do.
Yeah. Please, Lord, do.
I only can keep up to date on THORChain and THORSwap stuff. And even on the THORSwap side, I've had to sacrifice some things there just because there's been too much going on the THORChain side.
Yeah, there's so much going on in our own ecosystem. I'm an educator for THORChain, and I'm sometimes asking community members what's happening because there's so much changing. So, I mean, that's really embarrassing for me, but I'm literally just a person, one person trying to keep up with all these different moving pieces. I mean, it's really impossible. It really is. So this is the decentralized effect. We're witnessing this real life. Someone comes up, have a question, they ask the host and another speaker. We don't know. People come up and they answer the question. This shit works, guys. This shit works. And let's push this very, very hard.
Yeah. Help each other. It as long as everybody's got the same like modus operandi, it all works out pretty well.
Speaking of the different projects, Shapeshift is one of them, and we have the Shapeshift intern. He's been waiting to speak for a while, so we'll get you up here, buddy.
Don't ever rush for me, guys. I'm just here to remind everybody that Shapeshift became a DAO and shortly thereafter ripped out and put THORChain as their back end. And we were built to survive the bear market, to be lean and mean. We are, and I am in the marketing part of Shapeshift that's dedicated. And any integrated partner or wallet wants to do any co-marketing, anything, that's what I'm here for. I believe, and I remember from the spaces, listening to Chad B, shout out to Chad B down there, in respecting our devs, THORChain should be ubiquitous. I think trying to explain to newcomers exactly what THORChain is and how it's several 100,000 lines of code and all that is a bit much. And perhaps we should take a methodical force multiplying overkill strategy and boost and take turns with each one, like Trust Wallet and Ledger and each integrated partner, and maybe do a 24-hour or 72-hour sprint with each one of them and have the retweets and the quote posts and tagging people on purpose so they could learn and know. I think that's the way forward. And that if we could effectively explain what THORChain is for people to understand it and weaponize that knowledge, it would have happened already, gentlemen. Just saying, THORChain and Shapeshift are primarily agnostic, so we shouldn't play any favorites. We should bolster every integrated partner and wallet methodically. That's just my thought. But yes, call out to anybody that wants to do marketing, contact the Shapeshift main or join the Discord or myself.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I agree with a lot what you said. The reason why you would want to do Trust Wallet first, because it's just so obviously clear, like the biggest fish, and we have the most to siphon in terms of gaining more users from Trust Wallet. But you're right, and actually to spin off what you just said, Shapeshift, someone just tagged me, Kenton. I linked you in a comment from Marcel from Thor Wallet that he's been, I guess, discussing some marketing THORChain thread, and that guy's really great. So that's Thor Wallet specifically. But it's good to just get more. That would be a good cook to have in the kitchen. In other words,
definitely, yeah, I definitely want to promote everyone. But I think we got to find something that works, right? And it's like, no offense to the other, like you said, Patriot Trust Wallet's the biggest, so it's just the easiest one to try and find something that works. What is cool, the other thing with with Thor Wallet and THORSwap, they have referral links. And so those we should be able to utilize too, because if we can get those to work, then we have definable, proven. We spend X on marketing. We get this many people using the links, creates Y in fees. We'll be able to do that math to see is it positive or negative. And that's what real marketing is about, right? Real marketing isn't like putting your logo on a golf ball like that. Yeah, that maybe work on a small scale for something local, but if we want to spend millions and millions of dollars in marketing, we have to have some kind of way to measure it. So that's what for Thor Wallet and THORSwap, that's what they have going for them, is those referral links that we can use. I don't know, Shapeshift intern, like does Shapeshift have a referral link like that we can use? Something that we can measure.
All of our stuff is being built in public. All of our meetings are recorded and available for everybody, and all the data can be accessed. If you need something specific, I can send it off to those that command all the data.
Yeah, we just ask.
But yeah,
ask for a referral link.
I'm just, we're doing the Fox with Hat campaign, which was actually making the first meme with utility. And utility was to offer free or discounted trades through Shapeshift. Now, you guys realized that on the 17th, Binance just announced a full 6 months of free trades. So that's what we're competing with. That's the landscape. Shapeshift has free trades under $1,000 without any time restraints.
Oh, actually, I think we could use that very well, because then you could take Binance, the biggest, I don't know if they're the biggest sex in the world. I don't know if that's Coinbase, Binance, can't remember, but you could use that as an argument to Trust Wallet, like, hey, look, they're doing this thing, right? And so I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something. I mean, there's the proofs in the pudding right there.
Yep. Yeah, we have under $1,000 trades for free, and then if you hold so much Fox, which you could stake and earn Rune, layer 1 Rune by staking Fox, but I didn't want to tout that to detract from the efforts to bond, because that's the current primary.
It all helps.
Mission.
It all helps.
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, guys, if everyone in here, please do it again. Share the space. If you listen to the recording, share the space. I want people to get in here and hear this message, because we're going to mobilize. We're mobilizing every single individual that wants to participate, and I hope all of you do, on making this thing grow, not only to get Ruggira off the ground, but to make THORChain and Maya Protocol the number one and number 2 DEX in the world, the biggest Bitcoin DEX. We're all one big community. I mean, we DEX aggregate between each other. I love Maya Protocol, as you know, Alex from Maya, he pretty much bailed us out. Absolute legend. Love that guy. So, I would, not only do I want Ruggira to be on THORChain, but I think there's great utility to adding from Maya Protocol to add Ruggira too. But the first step, guys, is to increase the bond, raise the bond, so that we can get them off the ground, so we can have a proof of concept of the obvious increase of swap fees from this whole new economic primitive that we've never had before. I mean, this is all additional swap. If there's one swap made on Ruggira, then that is extra revenue, not only for node operators, LPs, but also you as a potential bond operator. So if you want that future, you need to bond your Rune. It's easy, so easy. It's relatively safe. I think it's very safe. Do it. Don't wait. Just do it. Reach out to me, Kenton, or I put a link in the comments. It shows you exactly, very easy, from THORChain University, Lush, how to bond your Rune. Become an active participant in this network. Help improve the security, and let's grow this thing.
And you're really
excellent. And I'd like to please forgive me. I'd like to echo and piggyback on that, and make your reposting and quote posting more effective, because people tend to go where they're invited. So figure out who needs to hear this or learn what, and include the proper links. tag them, call them out. Hey, if you got any questions, ship them to Shapeshift, or we got a great team for Q&A, support staff. Use us. We're open 24 hours. So, but yeah, it's great to retweet and forward and all that, but tag somebody.
Yeah.
Tag another wallet. Go under Trust Wallets replies and tag them, for example. Say, hey, you're welcome to this. This is a freedom available to you. We should be agnostic. I mean, we are agnostic. We should just act like it more, because if we're united, we're unstoppable.
I agree. Don't rely on me and Kenton to tell you what to do necessarily. Just do. If you think you know something better, give it a shot, right? If you have an idea right now that we've not said, do it, or come up and talk about it, right? Anything you do helps 100%. And I leave it to your imagination. I am one person with so much experience and so much intelligence. Most of you are probably smarter than myself. Go for it. Just go for it. You're going to help a lot. Were you going to say something, Kenton?
No, I was just gonna kind of add to that. Like, I think people just sitting on their rune maybe there's a bit of a mental block or a hurdle for them to get over. I don't know what it is, but if they truly understood THORChain, like they wouldn't sit on their rune and do nothing for like they'd have it in a bond immediately. Like you really are just holding back the network, which means you're holding back the rune price from going up. Like it makes really no sense to just sit on your rune, especially if you have it on Binance. Like, which I find I really honestly, the last thing you want to do is talk down to somebody if you want to get a sale from them, right? but
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
The whole point of THORChain is that you don't have to use Binance, right? And they have self-custody. So if you're on Binance, if you're day trading, I get it, right? If you're trading in and out, or you're going to sell your rune in a month or whatever, that's fine. I get it. Okay, sure. Have it on Binance. But if you're just going to have it on Binance, sit there for the next year or two, like you're really kind of, it's higher risk because you're on a centralized exchange, right? They can arbitrarily decide, close your account, do whatever. Maybe they get hacked. Or you could have it self-custody, which is safer, and have it in a bond in the node and help grow the network and help drive up the rune price. Like, it's, in my mind, it's pretty obvious. But maybe it's because I understand THORChain better, right? And to the casual observer, maybe they don't get that. But Patriot, you mentioned you haven't bond. You are kind of a first-time bonder yourself. Can you elaborate on that? Did you ever have any? Did you ever think about it that way?
Yeah, so I just never bond providing did not exist when I first became an LP back in 2021 during ChaosNet. So, and then eventually bond providing came. People know me as an LP. I talk with a lot of LPs. But we have a mission. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to take some of my remaining rune and I'm going to bond it. And actually, I've probably got a lot. The vast majority of my rune is now bonded. Yeah, I've done it. First time here, and it's been a great experience. I'm on friendly terms with Kenton, so of course I reach out to Kenton because we already work together. I said, hey, I like, can I, I want to be a bond provider for you. Great, simple, easy. And just to speak on Kenton, he already had a video set up, where he breaks it down exactly what to do. It's pretty brainless, you guys. It's so easy. It doesn't take long at all. You get whitelisted. You bond your rune, and then when you churn in, you're making income. And to Kenton's point, for those who are just holding for years, I mean, it's not necessarily that, okay, you're just limiting your potential. I mean, you could be earning rune on your rune. If you're holding for years, if that's your plan, then earn 19% APY because that's what I'm getting right now, right? 19%.
Well, even earn 1%.
Yes,
right.
anything.
Like it's
0.05%.
Yeah.
It's anything is better than nothing, right? And you're going to increase the security of the network, which is what's going to get Rajir off the ground.
And I think maybe what might kind of hold some people back or scare them, like, well, there's you say it's all like there's no such thing as like perfectly safe, whatever, right? And there must be some risk, right? How could maybe I can lose my rune? And really, you maintain custody. The node operator or other bomb fighters, they can't take your rune, they can't access it. Really, the worst case scenario is that the node operator you're working with is malicious, and you've unwittingly given power to somebody who's a bad actor, and you're increasing that person's ability to steal from the network. And so that's why you should have some kind of relationship with the node operator. And this is, I'm kind of against the whole that's like if you're everybody wants an easy way to bond their rune, which really means an easy way to have no relationship with the node operator. But how do you know your bonding your node operator is bad? And so let's just go down that path. Let's say he's bad, and you're bonding your rune to a bad actor, and he's colluding with other node operators to steal. Then maybe they can steal and get away with it, and then the rune from that bond from your node would get taken from the network because crypto's been stolen, and that's when you lose the rune in your bond. But basically, rune would go to zero because the network is hacked, right? So even if you had rune with an honest node operator, even if you had rune sitting on Binance, it all goes to zero, right? Because work has been compromised, has been stolen. So if you're working with a node operator you trust, you have some kind of legal or social relationship with, there really isn't any risk. Like and I hate saying that because that's the last thing you want to say, but like the real risk is just liquidity. You just have your rune stuck in a node, and you can't churn it out. So for example, there's a churn every 3 days when nodes can leave the network, and just tell your node operator, I want to get out, and he has to churn the node out. A couple of things can happen. Maybe the network is paused churning because an update needs to go through. So there's a security bug or something like, and the nodes agreed to suspend the churn because a patch needs to be developed and updated. And so sometimes the churn can be paused for a few weeks, but that affects all nodes, and we can all agree it's necessary. So there you go. You might have a few weeks where you can't get out when you want. The other one is, well, what if churns are fine, but the node operator just says, "F you, I'm not going to listen." He has to churn out. I'm not going to. There's a couple things. If you have over 300,000 rune bonded, you can force the node to churn out yourself. I understand a lot of people don't. So then what? Well, then you're stuck. And you'd have to wait until the node churns out naturally. And usually that's by age. And if right now it's the longest is about 6 months. So, at most you'd have to wait 6 months for the node to churn out naturally. No operator can avoid that. So every 3 days the network kicks out 3 nodes. The one with the most slash points, the one with the lowest bond, and the node that is oldest in the network. That is unavoidable. No node operator, no one can stop that. That happens automatically. And assuming the node operator is being difficult, won't turn out for you, he's probably operating the node honestly, like because he wants to earn fees. So he's not getting slash points. Lowest bond, that's pretty easy to see if you're going to reach that or not. So chances are it'd be from old age. But let's say that's happening, and like you raise a big stink in Discord and Twitter and whatever, like you destroy the reputation of that node operator, and they wouldn't last very long. But let's say the node operator didn't care, right? He's on the way out and just wants to get a few dollars before he leaves. You might be able to rally the rest of the node operators to force that node out of the network. That's possible. So there are some recourse for you, but the worst the absolute worst case, you still own your tokens. They're still yours. They're still in your custody. You just have to wait for that node to get kicked out, and then you unbond them. So, broadly speaking, it's pretty. There's really not too much that can go wrong for you. Like I said, I hate saying that because I don't want to jinx it, but I mean, it's a real no-brainer.
Yeah, it's important to contextualize risk here. Okay, guys, so let's rewind the clock. Maybe people are not familiar with THORChain. So back in THORChain 2021, we had BEP swap. We had a chaos net come, which is mainnet now, but it was just the early, the first version of it. Okay. I learned about THORChain, watched Chad's videos, got educated myself, flew out to Colorado, met Chad Bareford in person, 9 Realms guys, got involved, right? If there was a time for risk, that was the maximum risk. And let me tell you how risky it was. From my perspective, when I became an LP, I put in, I think it was about 30 grand at the time. It was a dual BTC LP ad in the Chaos Net. And I said goodbye to it. Okay. I said goodbye to it. I did not know. I thought there's a really good chance I'm going to lose my money, but I really believed in what THORChain was trying to do. And I said, no matter what happens, I am not going to withdraw my liquidity position. Okay. So let's talk about risk. Okay. What is it to go down memory lane here? What the heck happened in THORChain? Various edge case bugs. We had the exploit from the ETH router back in 2021. Fixed that. A lot of innovation come from there. We had the Luna implosion. We had a Luna implosion where we had to use Ragnarok code that had never been used or really hardly tested before. All of a sudden, right? We've had various consensus failures in the earlier days, trying to figure out all the nuances when it comes to adding chains. You guys, the time for risk, I mean, there's always a risk. If you're worried about risk, you have risk every time you hop in your vehicle and go for a drive. Okay. Don't think like that. Think of, what the risk compared today relative to what it used to be, it's almost non-existent. And again, I hate to say that, but those days are far behind us. I mean, THORChain has been hardened. If someone could break THORChain, I think they would have done it by now. Now, of course, there always can be some bug. You never ever rest on your, on your laurels. There always can be something like this. But there is money to be had, money for a black hat to take. And it just requires, if they're smart enough, they would have already done it. Okay. We no longer have block rewards. The churns are running more and more like butter every day. We have the most incredible community. We have the most talented developers in the world for this particular blockchain. Risk. There's risk. There's always risk. Okay. But to contextualize it, bond providing is probably one of the least risky things you can do on this protocol. Let me just put it that way.
But if you like all those risks you brought up, Patriot, are more like those are broad protocol risks,
right?
Risks to Rune price, right? Those are risks if you're just those still exist if you're holding Rune in your wallet, doing nothing with it. Those all still apply, right? That's not what I'm trying to highlight the specific risk of bonding your Rune in particular. And like once you own Rune holding it, you've accepted all those other risks,
correct,
right?
Correct.
So the only next risk for you to assume is really just locking up your Rune and being illiquid. That's the main one. That's really your main risk there. So
but you have that same risk. To be fair, you have that same risk if you do any kind of investment option where there might be a lockup term or anything else. You never really. It's hard to predict the future, right? So really, with bonding Rune, I think generally speaking, the only risk you really have is that you wouldn't be able to unbond because the node hasn't churned out.
Exactly. And let's say for some reason churning is paused for 2 months, right? I mean, there could be something bad happening. Maybe that affects the Rune price overall. Who knows? But that's probably your worst. In my mind, that's the most likely worst thing that can happen. But again, if the churns never go back on, I mean, Rune is effectively toast because there's obviously something bad has happened. The churns would have to be turned back on, and then we're going to have to resume again in order for the Rune price to resume again. So, in a lot of ways, all the majority of the risk is just in owning Rune in the first place. right? That's where it all comes from.
I agree with that. And as I was saying before, it's if you're planning, like Kenton talked about earlier, if you're planning to hold your rune for years on end anyway, putting it in a bond providing position, that's not such a great step when it comes to the risk profile. Wade, I think you were trying to say something. Go ahead.
Nah.
Okay.
Chris jumped on stage here. We should
go ahead, Chris.
give him a chance.
Hey, thanks, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. So yeah, a few things. First time I've ever spoken on a THORChain space. So just want to say thanks to you guys for taking the time to put these up, because I think they are invaluable as far as community growth and just helping people understand the intricacies and sort of the uncertainty in some of this, we'll call it drama maybe, of the past few months. So I'm new to the community, and certainly I've been incredibly impressed with the resiliency. And then looking back over parts of the ecosystem's history that I know nothing about, but clearly resilient. I've caught wind of a few other traumatic moments in the past, I guess, and you're still here as a chain, and we're still here. So super awesome. So one of the questions I had, Kenton, you were mentioning starting a bit of a marketing push and trying to find ways to broaden awareness and adoption of just using THORChain, never mind buying Rune. And I'm wondering, has there ever been like the node operators themselves are a form of a DAO? And I'm wondering, has there been in THORChain's history a bit of a community-centric DAO? And thinking, if not, perhaps this is a fantastic opportunity to try to create one with the explicit purpose of the group trying to increase awareness and marketing and adoption of the chain itself.
Do you mean a DAO in like the legal sense, like to create a legal structure and put something together?
No, on chain. Like it can be, it doesn't have to be. Like a lot of DAOs exist strictly in the digital sense. I don't know the prowess of THORChain as a programmable blockchain that can you do that type of stuff. I don't know enough about what's under the hood compared to say like in Ethereum or some of these other, or like EOS.io or some of these other blockchains that are far more programmable. So perhaps there's limitations there that I'm not aware of, but not. It doesn't have to be a legal thing. It can just be a digital thing.
Well, then I would argue it already exists. It's the nodes. There's 100 nodes. They make up the digital DAO, and they decide the network. And if somebody wants to have a voice, here's a reason to bond. Is that's how you get a voice in this DAO. Is that you as a bond provider? I don't know how other node operators do it, but on my nodes, you get a vote. And anytime there's a decision being made, a vote going on in THORChain, go to the bond providers on the node, say, hey guys, this is the vote happening. What are you interested in? Right? What is your vote? And then I tally it up based on the size of your rune. So if you have 1/10 of the rune in the node, you get 1/10 the vote, basically. I've got a bond provider who he specifically wanted to control the vote of a node. He wanted to have over 500,000 rune on a node so that he decided the vote. So I think what you're asking for, Chris, already exists.
Well, no. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I agree with you that is a form of a DAO. It's just the node operators as a DAO does not have the explicit purpose and function and mission to aggregate new distinct voices and users to be very vocal individually, because it's limited to now each individual node is a collectivized voice for those who feed that node operator, right? I'm more thinking of more a pure grassroots community, low friction to entry with only the purpose to advertise for the chain. Simply speaking, right? The node operators have many other functions as the function of the DAO, and it almost muddies it if you introduce too many aspects of a DAO and why you're there. It's very beneficial, I found in my experience with DAOs, if the purpose of membership and admission and willingness to participate is super clear and direct and impactful to the individual themselves, which in this case would be use of THORChain as the example.
Okay, I think I understand you then. Well, me and Scorch are doing that. We're doing our own grassroots. We're getting together. I'm putting the invite out to others. If somebody thinks that has marketing experience, think they can add, please help us. This is a volunteer position. Neither of us are getting paid. We're going to get paid through appreciation in Rune and more volume on the network. But I would keep it. I have no interest in creating a legal DAO structure or anything formal, because that is what gives authorities something to attack. So that's the one. That's the one
You don't need
saving.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So
it's not
yeah.
necessary. The DAOs I've come from and spent a lot of time with are from the EOSIO ecosystem. I was part of a DAO that went from, I was the 27th member and we topped out at 500, and there was no legal entity. It was strictly all on-chain governance. Again, I don't know what's like. Ideally, this lives on THORChain. I don't know what THORChain can do, so it'd be interesting to talk to a dev. But I'll reach out to you privately, Kenton, to maybe discuss this further and see if there's an opportunity to do a more traditional on-chain DAO that others will be useful, but something that's not stake-based voting and trying to come up with consensus decisions that are in fact collectively designed to be beneficial for marketing or adoption of the ecosystem.
We can explain it now, because I apologize. I don't think I understand at all what you're suggesting. I'm maybe just clueless. So, but I'd imagine others are interested in hearing too.
It could be a really long. We get into DAOs. I mean, they were flavor. They were the people. I think DAOs were pretty catchy a couple of years ago, and I think become pretty sour in a lot of people's minds because they don't tend to do anything sometimes unless it's like running a blockchain. But in this case, it's just to really simply try to qualify this. In the ecosystem that I was in the DAO that I'm aware of, it was designed by Dan Larimer, who was the architect behind Steemit and BitShares, and then EOSIO software. And there was a DAO in that ecosystem that he came up with, and he wrote a book called More Equal Animals. I suggest everyone to give that a look if you're interested in different ways of arriving at group consensus and trying to solve for democratic decision making. It's free PDF. And in that book, he kind of outlines a process by which you can arrive at group consensus through this kind of fractal iterative election process. And you end up with like this sort of council or a board of directors or whatever you want to call it, but we call them delegates. And those delegates have sort of MSIG authority over any type of treasury or any on-chain attributes tied to the DAO itself, because it lives on a blockchain. So there's still code, not perfectly immutable, because you want to be able to change attributes for a member joining or whatever it might be. So that was the broad framework. It's a different way to arrive at group consensus. But what's really cool about it is it's based on a series of synchronous video calls. It forces randomization of the entire community who participates in these frequent calls. And one of the iterations that's been iterated on, one of the iterations was less about trying to have these, call it every 3-month elections to select on a council who then make decisions on behalf of the community to do whatever that community is supposed to do. Instead, there's more frequent, call it weekly or bi-weekly elections, but they're just group video calls where everyone who's participating is ideally maybe doing something that contributes to THORChain, whether it be I did a tweet, I did this awesome meme, look, I got 1,000 views, or I went on this podcast. And so all these different members can come together and all be doing different things that are ideally focused on some sort of overarching purpose that everyone agrees with and joins based on. They show up in these weekly or bi-weekly election meetings. They get randomized into small groups. Say you have 50 people, they all end up in 10 groups of 5, and you can do that through Zoom. It doesn't have to be fancy. The one we were on, it was all on chain. The video calls, everything had a blockchain base. The randomization of the members, all blockchain based. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but the end outcome is you get these 50 community members randomly meeting each other. So it forces everyone to get to know each other, which is awesome. And then during that call, say it's 45 minutes, everyone has an opportunity to talk about what they did to support the chain or to support the mission at least. And then they, hopefully, it's meant to be collaborative, they rank each other on who contributed the most impactful, top 1, 2, 3, and maybe just leave the last bunches flat so there's no loser per se. And then the outcome of the election ideally is some sort of incentive. So in a perfect world, maybe there is a small drip of some sort of external capital input. I don't know how that can be resolved. Maybe node operators, or maybe you can kind of collectivize or create some worthless token that has some sort of point. I don't know. But ideally, there's some sort of reward there. And based on the voting results of each room, somebody gets a little something saying thank you for your effort. Again, super difficult for me to describe. This is a very complicated process. And I hope that is less confusing, not more.
No, it helps. Yeah. The Shapeshift, you have your hand up. I assume you want to add something.
Hey, I just like to oversimplify whenever possible. I think to whatever extent we could benefit and bolster Rune would be to make sure all the node operators can make informed decisions. And then B, we could I'm still in love with the hypothesis that as I was a whore reading white papers after white paper, trying to pick the best pony in the horse race, upon THORChain, it stood to reason that the protocol fee split is in fact you're investing in actually the horse track, and that THORChain is agnostic and capable of being flexible and integrating whatever may come in the future. And so I think some of those just simple, a simple premise, if I'm not mistaken, I think that should be best the lead. That should be the headline.
Yeah.
You want to pick ponies, or do you want to own the horse track?
Well, I like Chris coming up here and just breaking something like down like that. Like that's what we need. I just want more input of things that we can do. And guys, if there's anyone in the audience right now, if there's anything that we could be doing better, or me specifically, or anyone up here, just make some comments right now, right? Like let's get some input. And remember, we're just two individuals, or multiple individuals up here actually, just spending our own free time trying to push THORChain. Please think of what you can do in your skill set, what you can bring to the table, because there's so much opportunity for growth here, guys. I mean, I think the marketing campaign that we really discussed earlier from Kenton, coming from Kenton, I think that sounds like a winner to me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's definitely something that we can do. I mean, at first, it's like throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks, right? I mean, that's cliche, but there is some merit there. As long as we're doing something, I think eventually we're gonna strike gold at some point. It's just constant effort, right? I mean, ultimately, what's it saying? Hard work. No, success is when hard work meets our. I forget. God dang it! But
luck is when
yes,
preparedness meets opportunity. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. That's what I was trying to say. Man, you're a legend for knowing that one. So yeah, guys, is anyone want to come up and ask more questions or anything like that? Again, I always call out eventually, please share the space so people can listen to the recording. We covered a lot of amazing things earlier, a lot of ground. Bond your rune, please bond your rune. This is how we're going to grow the network. Our ultimate mission here is to increase the security budget so we can get Rajira off the ground. And we've had tremendous success last week, tremendous success. And I really appreciate everyone, reposting and deciding to become bond operators. Remember, if you are a bond operator, you can actively add to your position. Just make sure it's okay with your node operator. You don't want to go over the maximum, security threshold in terms of what you can get yield for. So, Kenton in his note, because I'm in there, he says, hey, we've got some space available. Does anyone want to add? And we've had multiple people do that. So if you're already a bond provider, think about adding some more. I mean, the yield is great right now.
And I've had some. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just going to say, I'm just going to drop off to get other people on. So thank you very much for this. And I definitely want to say I'm a new bond provider, and that is 100% thanks to Kenton. So just to those who are still on the fence, maybe and not sure what to do, I would highly suggest you give Kenton a DM. He's very responsive. Will take the time to help you. He took the time to explain things to me and answered probably more questions than was necessary, but he was super gracious about that. And it convinced me to trust him and partially the project. So awesome. It's amazing what one voice and yourself, Patriot, as well, right? Just a couple of voices can really go a long way to changing people's minds and to help establish trust, right? We talk about this as like a trustless place in the internet world and decentralized ecosystems. No such thing. Humans, we thrive on being able to trust each other in a community. And so just kudos to you guys and kudos to yourself, Kenton, for doing what you do and convincing me to work with you and contribute to your notes. So thank you.
Hey Chris, real quick before you go, thanks, man. I really appreciate those words. But could you just quickly, for the audience, can you just give what was your impression of bond providing, how hard it would be, and then how difficult did it turn out to be? Could you just give me your experience?
Oh, it's super, super simple. I mean, all I had to do was go to one interface. Which interface was it? Just the main one, the THORSwap Finance. This THORSwap Finance. And Kenton also, he provides, I mean, the other thing about what Kenton did, again, he made it idiot proof. And so, I'm close to an idiot and I didn't screw it up. So clearly it works. So he gives you a video where he shows you how to do it. I mean, he literally walked me through it. So it's not complicated. And yeah, I've been in crypto since 2013. So, I mean, maybe I'm not an idiot, but I definitely, for me, it was super easy. And I think even for noobs, the process is quite simple. And the other thing I'll point out is I was very direct in asking Kenton, like, what are the risks? And I think I even did that just in a public tweet. What do you see as the risks? And he didn't hold back. Like he wasn't trying to sugarcoat things. He didn't be like, no, no problem, just go ahead. So, there are risks, and you've articulated some of them here, right? Where your rune is stuck if you want to get it out right away, and there's some sort of market, whatever. But at least he was straightforward and honest. And, I think the fact you can also, 10,000 rune as like a base to submit to some of these node providers, that's a lot of money to some, but to a lot of people, 10 grand basically, or whatever, 12 grand now, like that's a fair amount of money, but it's not, to me, I'm quite comfortable. Like, I think there's a lot of us in this space who are fairly comfortable with those types of amounts. And if that can even come down for some, I think I read somewhere there's talk of kind of permissionless ability to provide bonds. And so that might really expedite some of the smaller smaller value token holders to also then participate. So it'd be good to see it going that way, because 10K might be a lot to some, but depends on who you are.
So thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. We had a video call too, which I think I assume helped you. Yeah. And I'm happy to talk to people on the phone, have a video call, because I know not everybody wants to just have a anonymous conversation in a Twitter chat. And then as to your question too about the less than 10,000, we anyone listening maybe can listen to the recording, but we talked about that earlier, that there are other node operators willing to take less. And for me, it's just I have to draw the line somewhere. I can only help so many people. But I think it's AutoStake, Yangu, and PFC Validator will take less than, and I want to say there's another one, isn't there? Did you post them in Telegram, Patriot?
I can't remember. I'm sorry. There might be.
Yeah.
Was it Romero or maybe American Romero?
No, American Romano. I'm pretty sure that's PFC Validator. I want to say this one started with a D.
Aquila was part of 9R will take less than that.
Aquila?
But he's not in the. Yeah, he doesn't have an X account, so.
Oh, okay. That's why he's not on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, if he gets an X account, I'll promote him. Just if you've got him in DMs, just tell him that. Like, that's someone who's really aligned with the community. I would love to swing some bond providers their way, because I'm in Kenton's node, you guys. But as we talked about earlier, like we just want to decentralize the network, and get as many bond providers in. It doesn't have to be with Kenton. Right? It can be with anybody. If you bond with another node provider, that helps all of us indirectly. Go ahead, Wade.
If you're under 10K, I would recommend folks that are considering, please do check out the THORChain Dev Discord. There is an actual channel that lists off in an individual thread each node provider and what their limits and fees and so on are. And if you still are stuck, please reach out to Runetard, because he will go above and beyond to find you a node provider that or a node operator that will allow you to bond a smaller amounts. I think he said the lowest amount he did was like 300 or 1,000 or something. He found somebody that would do that. So please don't feel that you're going to be dismissed because you might not have enough rune. Every little bit counts.
100%. And to go on Runetard a little bit, he's actually interested in training people how to be node operators. So I'm going to make the call again, because we have new people listening, and I don't know if you're going to listen to the recording. If you think you can become a node operator, if you've got some technical skills, you're interested in learning Kubernetes or all the stuff involved in THORChain, reach out to Runetard or reach out to me. I'll hook you up. Okay. I will give you the tools necessary. We want to have new node operators. That would be absolutely important for the network. Shapeshift, I don't, your hand's kind of glitching out for me, going on and off. So I don't know if you want to speak, but.
Hey, thanks. I just wanted to make my final and hopefully best point is that we are definitely awash in world-class developer talent. And we should fortify those developers and encourage them to stay as happy as possible and move the protocol forward. It's not really possible, but it's good to walk a mile in another man's shoes. And as far as the devs, Lord knows what they've been through. The protocol is battle tested, fire hardened. We got 13 Heavens here from Maya protocol. We're all about to be integrated. Shapeshift's integrating with Cacao Maya protocol right now. And I just wanted to shout out to all the devs. I see the back end frog down there and Chad. Thank God for you guys, because without the devs, we would not be here.
Yes.
And that goes the same for the LPs and all those bonding. I just wanted to say Godspeed, everybody. I'm proud to be among you. Let's go onwards to
I love
Valhalla.
it, man. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks,
None of
Shapeshift.
this, nothing would exist without the innovative minds of the developers. And I think we owe it to them to help push THORChain to the next level. I mean, they've already put in a lot of work. They've already solved a lot of the hard problems. The next problem is scale. And that's where we all come in. And Chris, I'm so glad you came up here. Sounds like, you've been around in this since 2013. You are much more of an OG than I am. I came in 2019. So if you've got a community, man, I would implore you, tell them what we're trying to do here. Bring them over to THORChain. I'll happily go on any of their spaces and talk to them because the overall ethos of this protocol is to economically liberate the world. And we're dead serious about that. It's a very hard task. But we've stayed true to our ethos, our core message, our core belief. And, we just want to open up to anyone who believes in that. We just want as much people as we can. So I'm just really thankful that you came up here and talked, and that was absolutely great. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem, man. And yeah, I'll definitely I'll shoot a PM to you, Kenton, at some point. I got to run here, but I'll shoot you a PM and just chat a little bit more of this DAO concept, because it might be something with some more a little bit more of a framework. It'll be easier to understand, and maybe it'll actually prove to be pretty useful in this particular where we're at with where this community is at. Right? It's a way to organize anyway. So
great, thanks.
Thank you.
And I want to add to that sentiment about supporting the devs and celebrating them. That's absolutely, Shapeshift's absolutely right. We wouldn't be here without, guys spending how many, I'm sure hundreds of endless nights hammering away at code. And, if you want to celebrate them and support them, bond your rune. So like, I know it's all big turning into a commercial for bonding your rune, but when you go nowadays, you go to a smaller restaurant, you take your dishes and you clear them out in the garbage and you put your dishes in the bin, right? You don't leave them sitting on the table, right? You just kind of like, you're helping out the small business and you're being respectful for the next customer to come sit down, right? It's kind of the same thing with bonding your rune. Like the devs have worked so hard to do all this, and now is the network being held back because there's not enough rune bonded? Like just get your rune in the node, don't, if we sit constantly in an underbonded state, we don't have enough nodes, then the devs have to work harder on figuring out some kind of new solution. How do we do this? How do we do that? And it just puts more work on their plate, as opposed to someone just sitting on their rune, not doing anything with it. It takes you a few mouse clicks. Like it literally takes like 30 seconds for you to move your rune onto a node. And it's not even, it's still in your wallet. You still have custody. Like it's so easy. So by bonding your rune, not only supporting the network and helping yourself with the rune price go up, you're showing some respect for the devs. Like, you don't want to make their job any harder, and help the system grow and work within its current design.
If you want to make their job harder, let's get to 120 nodes, and they have to figure out how to scale it even further. Okay,
there you go. That's yeah.
Let's do that. I would love to add pressure. I would love their minds that are thinking about, okay, we got to add more Asgards. How are we going to do this? How are we going to scale? I want them thinking about block times. I want them thinking about how we're going to make THORChain even bigger than it is. So honor to the devs. If you don't bond your rune, Chad will cry.
and it's good too. If we get to 120 nodes, and hopefully that was resulting in some new buying on rune. Hopefully it's helping drive up the price. And it's not just idle rune moving. Yeah.
I've added because it's, bond your rune, raise the bond. I've now put, buy more rune, bond your rune, raise the bond, buy more rune. Just keep going, baby. And in a cycle like that. That's what I'm doing. Because it's becoming more and more clear. This is my opinion, guys. I'm just one person, but I'm seeing this in real time. I think you're all listening in real time. This community is starting to figure this out. We're all starting to rally behind this idea. We now have a very clear path of making THORChain bigger, better than it's ever been before. It's just up to us. It's just up to us. And if we do it, we win. Really as simple as that.
Yeah.
And so let's just do it. I mean, what the hell, right?
Yeah, I feel like we're on like the 5 yard line or 1 yard
Yes.
line. Like, and you know how it is for people who don't follow American football. Like it's at the end of the game, the score is tied, and one of the teams is just like a meter away from a touchdown. That last yard, that last meter can take like 20 minutes to play, right? And I kind of feel like that's where we're at with THORChain. Like we're so close, but it's going to just take that extra bit of time to get over into the end zone. But yeah, I feel like we're so close, to really kind of reaching that scale we all believe is possible.
Yeah, and if you guys want to get in the end zone and expedite this, take personal agency, take personal accountability. Please bond your rune or help us market or whatever you can do, or become a node operator if you have the skill. There's so many things that we can do, or make a DAO. I don't care, right? Just get involved, help us, okay? Because everything you do helps everyone, and including yourself. Go ahead, 13 Heavens.
Yeah, just adding to supporting the devs and getting more attention on Rune. I hope everyone in here has eyes on Voltisig. Very cool tech. If you guys haven't checked it out, I would. Perhaps the best advertisement for the THORChain ecosystem is a good chart. And Voltisig is going to be a brand new project. And personally, I'm hoping it has a fantastic launch, and that'll draw in new eyes into Voltisig, which will trickle down to Rune. Because in the Rune ecosystem, all things flow towards Rune. So just a little shill on Voltisig, which I'm not particularly involved in, but I do think it's great tech. And I think it's going to be a great vehicle along with Rajira to bring more eyes to Rune.
Okay, check it out. I'm so glad you brought this up, right? Why does Voltisig exist? Why does it exist, everybody? Because it leverages the technology of what THORChain uses, right? THORChain is so innovative that not only is it solving its core mission, but there are so many different things that can be built with the underlying technology of THORChain. And now we have custody that people can truly trust now, that it takes multiple, it's multi-factor in the sense of what am I trying to say? Of different devices. Okay. Like who just got exploited? I'm drawing a huge brain fart right now.
Bybit.
Bybit, yes. If Bybit was using Voltisig, that wouldn't have happened. Right?
100%, especially with their new AI stuff.
Right, guys. So you are all witnessing history in real time, not only with just THORChain and Rajira and Maya Protocol and Voltisig, but this landscape is changing, and it's changing for the better. So be a part of that story, because we're literally, the things that we do right now are going to be felt for generations to come. That might sound narcissistic or might be an overly aggrandized opinion of oneself, but I just think the logic flows. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about all of us. Okay. We are writing the book. We are forging the path. So the more people we get involved doing that, we're going to win. I hope I'm not repeating myself. I hope I'm not dull saying this thing, but I just literally believe that. I mean, this is such an exciting time. If you just stop and think about what THORChain is, what we're building, it blows my mind. So this is why people buy Rune. This is so exciting. The growth potential is just bananas.
It is. We do live in interesting times. Like it's 100%. Like how we look back like 1,000 years ago, medieval times and whatever, and kind of fantasize about that kind of stuff. Like I do believe 1,000 years from now, people are gonna look back at our time period and fantasize about. Could you imagine like before internet to after internet to before Bitcoin to after Bitcoin? Like what a wild time, So it is pretty cool.
And let's say someone's listening to this recording like many, many years from like 30 years from now. Like we're all old men, or maybe we're all dead right now listening to this recording, right? Like I hope we did well. I hope, and if you're free, we did it for you. We really tried for you guys. So
can I give oh, sorry, why'd
I am an old man. You're talking about before the internet, and I'm like, I'm old enough to be before the internet.
Me too, brother. Me too. Me too.
I wanted to give a 13 Heavens a chance to chat. Maybe I hope you don't mind me. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but maybe just remind people what you guys are doing and let people know who you are.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the spotlight. So we support the Maya protocol ecosystem. We're kind of mirrored after what Nine Realms did. Maya has done really impressive numbers over the last 2 years. It's a brand new protocol, and I was just a community member, a lot like how I imagined Nine Realms started, and it just seemed to be the right time for someone to step up and give Alex and Azuma and the rest of the core team a hand. So we do pretty similar work to Nine Realms, some business development. We brought on so far 4 devs, and God willing, we'll double and triple the development team again the next few months. Our mission is to make the network more robust, shorten development cycles, attract liquidity. We actually just finished setting up our big server. So we have a massive server that can host maybe like 30 or 35 nodes. So in the next few months, the Maya network will be getting much bigger, and if we have some space left over and we can find the bonders, we'll also be bonding to the THORChain ecosystem as well. So that'll be fantastic. And we're always here to answer questions or to help onboard people who want to contribute to the mission. And the great thing about Maya protocol is it's additive to the THORChain ecosystem. Like Alex has done a great job the last few weeks and the last few months supporting THORChain. When we see something that can be done better, we go ahead and prove it out. And our code is open source, then THORChain will often adopt it, and the reverse is also true. So this is an additive game, and like not one that's taking away from each other. And my goal when I got into Maya was I believe that one day, a lot like I think Chad or JP had said at one point, that a web of Thor likes is going to solve the cross-chain problem. And I would love to see one day that Maya is the main source of arbitrage against Rune. So instead of having the arbitragers go and buy on Binance or Kraken or one of the other exchanges, when a big streaming swap comes into THORChain, it gets arbed against the pools in Maya, and we can keep as much of the trading volume on chain as possible, which I think is the dream. And I think that this is like a blue sky environment. I really don't even think we're even really on chapter 1. We're still in like the preface to our story. And I see THORChain and Maya and Chainflip and whatever comes next as being this integral part of this massive solution to this even bigger problem. And this is very much day 1 or beginning of day 1. And it's going to be incredible, guys. Like I imagine this being like a multi-decade thing. Like I would love to see these networks become as solidified as everyone imagines Bitcoin will be one day. Because as much as maxis would like to believe that it's a one-chain future, that's never going to be the case. The future is multi-chain, and there needs to be a membrane connecting all those chains. And that's what the THORChain ecosystem is. And Maya is very proud to be part of that ecosystem.
God bless you, sir.
Awesome.
That was beautifully said.
Yeah, it was a great introduction. Yeah.
I went on Maya protocol space in 13 Heavens. I don't remember if you were there or not, but I floated this idea because right now, if you look at the audience right now, guys, you've got THORChain people, you've got Rogirans, you've got Maya people in here, you have Voltisig people in here, right? At some point, I just think there just comes a moment where like, I don't think we're the separate communities anymore. And it's something I just want to float out to everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah, we all have different nodes. We all have different validators. Of course, we're different, but we DEX aggregate between each other. Everyone touches, everyone blends. I think it might be time to start thinking about THORChain, Maya protocol, Voltisig, all the interfaces as like some DeFi amalgamation, like this big DeFi monster, right? That's what I'm starting to feel like, because I am a Rogiran. I am a user of Maya protocol. I love Voltisig, right? Like my THORChad signifier, my descriptor is becoming more and more meaningless because really I'm part of the whole thing now. And I just want people in the audience to start thinking about maybe that's how you should start identifying yourself. Like we're all in this together. We all share an ethos. So, whether you call yourself a THORChad or a Mayan, does it mean much difference? I'm not so sure it does.
I know there's
Yeah,
I know there's a lot
I'm
of
right there with you.
THORChain node operators that also run nodes on Maya. 13 have are you running nodes on THORChain right now, or did you say you want to eventually?
Right now, I am not. I have been a bonder in the past, but over the next few weeks, we're going to be getting up a lot of Maya nodes, and then bonders willing, we will get THORChain nodes up as well.
Okay, well, keep us in touch. 'Cause we were talking about it earlier. Like, if there's brand new node operators to THORChain, we want to get you off the ground and going too. So if you're a brand new node operator in THORChain, like that's great. Like we'll try and help you get some bond providers.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Yeah, the Maya team right now is building a new node launcher because our server is quite big. Like I said, it can host maybe 30 or 35 nodes. We're trying to create tooling right now to make that as seamless as possible, so people who are coming in with very heavy hardware can deploy multiple nodes and manage them and share resources and make it all as clean and error-free as possible.
Well, so are you giving other node operators ability to use your hardware? Did I understand that right?
I believe Izuma is the one working on this. It might be one of the other devs. It's a tooling because so the server that we have is going to be able to run a ton of nodes, and in order to make that as efficient as possible, they'll be sharing some resources. So like we might have 10 nodes running on the server, but we may only need to run one ETH node or one Bitcoin node and have them all kind of share and pool the resources. So it'll lower the hardware requirements for multi-node operators, and it'll make deployment and management much easier. And that'll all be open source, of course.
I think I understand. You can correct me if I get this wrong. But to run a full node on THORChain, I assume the same as Maya, you have to download each individual blockchain node, the Bitcoin node, the Ethereum node, Cosmos node, blah, blah, blah. And that costs money. You need to have the hardware to support that. And the reason for that was that each node would validate the transactions on each individual blockchain themselves. But what you're saying is you could have one platform to host the Bitcoin node, Ethereum node, all the other blockchain nodes, and then the Maya and THORChain nodes can just refer to that. They don't actually have to download those full nodes themselves. They can just ping that full node.
Exactly. So like every THORChain node needs a source of truth, like a Bitcoin node, an Ethereum node, a Cosmos node. But if you're running them all on one machine, you can get away with one Bitcoin. If you have like 10 Maya nodes or 10 THORChain nodes on one machine, you can have them all kind of share the source of truth from one Ethereum node, rather than running 10 instances of an Ethereum node or 10 instances of Bitcoin node. And it's just as secure because it's still your node.
So yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's just to lower the hardware requirements a little bit for multi-node operators, really.
So is this like an RPC implementation?
I guess you could kind of look at it like that, because like conceptually. Yeah, conceptually, yes. Because like you're still going to be running your own node. Like we still want the various node operators to not be outsourcing that, because that's like a potential vector for some sort of manipulation of like price or faulty transactions. But if you are running more than one node for THORChain or for Maya, there's really no point in running 10 instances, or in this case, 2 instances of each node that's connected. So like if you have like 3 Maya nodes, you don't need to run 3 Ethereum nodes, because that's just a bunch of overhead for your hardware that's just not required.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That kind of goes along with something that's bugged me for a long time, which is, I mean, I would love to run a node, but there is no way in hell I'm going to ever run a THORChain full node. The resource requirements are ridiculous. These chain daemons require resources that are completely unreasonable. Like a single daemon requiring 64 gigs of RAM is ridiculous. I don't know if these people working on these things understand how much memory 64 gigabytes is, but I've always felt like, I could run like a node that just did Doge. But the problem is, as I understand it, I would get slashed to death because I'm not running all of the other chains. So I've always wondered, like, has there been any effort that either on the THORChain side or even on the Maya side where someone's figured out a way to have a node operator that say only runs like one particular chain, or maybe they have 3 servers and they run each chain on each server kind of thing?
Yeah, I think you can do something like that already if you're very technically savvy. Like you could use a third-party RPC if you really wanted to. I probably wouldn't vote for that. I think like you should use your own, but also there's been a lot of talk in both communities about light nodes, and like one way a light node may work is you don't have to validate every single chain that's connected. You could validate a subset of the chains, therefore lowering the requirements. And at Maya, this is something that's probably maybe 12 or 18 or 24 months out, but we are looking into a consensus mechanism change to expand the validator set, as well as changes that will allow for light nodes, which may be exactly what you're saying. It may be as long as 1/3 or 50% of the network is running each individual connected chain, then that may be enough security to allow for THORChain or Maya to operate safely. So that's definitely something that's being worked on.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
And I just kind of want to bring up, in case somebody is wondering, why was THORChain originally designed for each THORChain node to run a full node of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and everything else? It was for security. Because if you had, say, you just had 100 THORChain nodes, all referring to one central source that had all the other blockchain nodes downloaded, then that becomes a point of attack, right? Somebody could just shut down that one source. Whereas if all 100 THORChain nodes all have a blockchain, have all those blockchains downloaded themselves, that makes each THORChain node truly distinct and separate, and you can't attack it. So that was the reason it was originally designed like that.
So that makes sense. What I was proposing was, say, a node operator that has funds and the technical expertise. I guess you'd classify me as that. To run, say, a full blockchain for, let's just say, like Doge and Litecoin. But there is no way I would ever consider running, say, BSC or BEP20, because the CPU and memory and disk requirements for that chain are preposterously huge. It does not justify the cost of the equipment to me. So I would be like, well, I could run 2 chains, but and of course THORChain, of course, but I would not be able to run these like other gargantuan nodes that have their blockchains are, in the terabytes or something at this point too. So anyway, Shapeshift has got his hand up, so he probably has something to say about this.
Hey, I just wanted to say that historically, we've all been born and raised into a trust-filled IOU-based reality. And now, thanks to the devs, we are able to trustlessly self-custody and bond. And that's a 0 to 1. I mean, we got Cacao, Maya Protocols got Zcash. They got Zcash coming in. They got Dash. There's some privacy there. We had the privacy news yesterday. We got the decentralization. It's holy grail tier crypto. Thank you to the devs. I just think the most attractive value prop is exiting out of the IOU-based trust-filled world, and then you could simply self-custody while bonding with Rune to earn your protocol fee split. Otherwise, you'd need to be an accredited investor in essentially what is not working software companies yet. All of that changed with crypto. We are those people doing that. So let's go.
Awesome. Thank you, Shapeshift. And you had, just so you know, you have some problems with your mic, I think.
Yeah. Right.
Chad, you jumped up on stage. You want to join the conversation?
Yeah, I was going to offer some thoughts on what you guys were just talking about, like kind of sharded security. You can call it that if you wanted to, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, go ahead, Chad. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, I mean, so Kenton was right that the reason why we did it the way we're doing it now is because it means that it means that the security is the same for every chain, right? The security is the same for everything, and that's a lot easier to reason about from like a user's perspective, rather than saying like, oh, if I'm going to do a swap, like, okay, Bitcoin seems really secure because there's lots of nodes that are validating Bitcoin, but Doge or whatever has only got like 10 nodes, so therefore it's less secure, which would be accurate to say. And that becomes a little like more difficult to reason about. It also makes it that like you're able to capture liquidity on the protocol is easier, right? Because if you wanted to like basically cyber attack first, like the Doge one, which only has 10 validators, then you would need a lot less capital and a lot less nodes in order to be able to like gain access to the Asgard vault and take the Doge tokens. So if we maintain the kind of like economic security that we've been having for a long time, then that becomes less of a concern, right? Because we already ensure economic security in that scenario. If the community as a whole wants to kind of revamp that perspective, that stance, and say we're going to move towards a more optimistic security viewpoint, then doing this sharded liquidity even becomes a little bit more on precarious footing in a sense. So I think it's an interesting question. I know something that JP is interested in doing because he wants to expand the protocol to be 20, 30 chains or whatever the number is, which has its pros and it has its cons, to be fair. But if we're going to do that, I would advocate for retaining security as it is now, or at least to some degree where it is now, and not going towards a more optimistic viewpoint. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the insight into that. I hadn't considered that level. Plus, it's a guaranteed consistency, meaning you can say the entire network is all of these nodes are effectively independent of each other, so you don't have to worry about there being some sort of imbalance between them when it comes from
Exactly.
a security perspective. Makes total sense, man. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's an interesting notion. There's pros and there's cons to it. I wouldn't say that one answer is correct and one answer is wrong, but it is definitely something we have to think more deeply about if that's the direction we want to go. And it also makes like Asgards themselves much more complicated because right now we have like basically one vault per Asgard in a sense. We generate one private key through the MPC process. We do that like you have each node producing one Asgard key, right? Being part of a group of 20 or whatever the hell the number is. And if you move into this system, then you need to develop like multiple Asgard keys per chain, right? And the odds that you have a failure, is greater because you're calculating multiple keys simultaneously in the same second. That could be something like more fragility in that sense. And in order for us to actually be successful in our churns, we always ensure that all keys are produced. If one key is not produced for some reason because of X, Y, or Z reasons, then we have to retry the whole thing over again. And so having that many Asgard keys, has fallbacks into its own right. It's more complicated, more vaults to monitor, more of this, more of that. There's definitely some pros and cons to consider. It's not as simple as the face would show. But it's not like a terrible idea, and it just has to be done correctly and well thought through, and I'm down to having that communication or that conversation with the community.
I hadn't considered the TSS concern and point, especially about the Asgard bits. It does make it more complicated, and it poses some complication. In exchange for the pros, there's some cons, and vice versa if you kept it the correct way too. So I totally understand. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Do you mind just quickly? Maybe I'll just let people know if people aren't paying attention to Discord. Chad Bearford basically announced he's back, helping out with THORChain again, and I think it's great, Chad. I'm glad you're back. I never really, the whole planned obsolescence. I mean, I get it in theory, but like, between you and JP, you guys have so much intellectual capital, I mean, no one understands THORChain better than you. And, I'd rather have you on my team helping than not. So, so welcome back. And can
Thank
we,
you.
yeah, I assume will you be just as active as you were in the past? Will you be doing spaces again? Will you be in Discord again? Are you maybe doing half as much work? Do you thought about that?
That's a good question to ask. It's a good question. Well, first of all, I didn't. So I took off for personal reasons. I kind of had some significant issues in my personal life that I really needed to focus on. I needed to focus on myself. I need to focus on my daughter, and that was really kind of the reason why I pulled back at the time that I did. Had nothing to do with THORChain. Had nothing to do with whatever else. It just had to do with personal reasons. But I've been away for about a year, maybe a little bit over, um, and I've seen the community go through a lot in the last year, obviously, both positive and negative. And I really felt like there was that maybe this is a kind of a better time for me to come back, just because I think that's where I can be most helpful. In terms of like what I'm spending my time doing, well, before I actually came back, I wanted to make sure that I didn't want to just like kind of insert myself in a matter of speaking. Like I wanted to make sure that people were on board with it. So I spoke with JP first. He was on board. I spoke with Nine Realms next. They were on board. I kind of engaged with the community on Discord this past week, just to kind of get some feedback from the community and get, if anyone wants to voice any concerns or whatever, or ask me questions or whatever, people are welcome to. I just want to make sure that everybody was kind of on board with it before actually coming back. It seems like it's mostly positive. Vast majority is positive. So I think that's showing enough evidence that the community wants me to come back and help in any way that I reasonably can. In what ways, that's to be determined. My first inclination is just to meet with all like the key players, all the key teams and players, to get a download from their viewpoint of like what the status is of THORChain, where they see the pros are or the cons are, where the points of friction are, what are the things we should be working on, what should be in the roadmap, and just kind of get a download from everybody and just kind of rewrap my brain around this world again. I'm down to doing spaces again, and maybe doing interviews on podcasts, whatever. I used to do those a lot back in the day, so those are pretty fun. I got pretty decent at them, I suppose. And I'm down to writing code again and contributing that way as well. But I'm not coming in with a preconceived notion of what my role is, what I'll be doing. It's more of I'm going to look for ways in which I can contribute and add value. And whatever reasonable way I can do that, I'm probably going to be looking forward to doing it.
Nice. Maybe I can ask you this way: are you working on anything else at the moment, or would THORChain be your only focus type thing?
There are some other things that I'm interested in working on. I haven't started those things yet. I am not sure if I will be starting those things. Like I'm actually spending my Saturday writing a white paper for another project. Because it's just I'm a man of ideas, as you could probably guess, and not just in the THORChain world, but also outside of it. And I've always kind of believed that I have a unique ability or skill set, and that I have an ability to solve very complex, very difficult problems in a way that I think a lot of people aren't able to. And I want to make sure that I'm using the full extent of my personal skills and whatever brain juices I might have to help society, help the world as beneficial as I can. Obviously, THORChain was one of those things, but I've other things I'd like to build as well. Whether I have time to do those things or not, that remains to be seen. It just depends upon how much energy THORChain needs to get the most. If it needs me a lot, I'll be spending a lot of time. If it needs not so much time, I'll spend not so much time. It just depends on what I see where I can contribute value to.
Great. If memory serves me, you had saying it's been cooking in your brain for a while now, that a problem you wanted to solve, but I don't think it was crypto related. It was some other industry. Is that
Yeah.
what you're talking about? Is that still simmering?
Yeah. So I have two ideas that I'm interested in. One's in the AI space, and I'm not going to go into details about that. But I guess the high level of that, I guess I'll say, is that as much as I love the concept of AI, what frightens me about it, it's not so much like people like to think about like Terminator 2, you know, the rise of Skynet kind of scenario. That part doesn't really frighten me, to be honest with you. What frightens me more is big tech becoming even bigger tech. You know,
Hmm.
it frightens me that companies like ChatGPT and Google and whatnot and Apple are, you know, going to be owning this technology, and that just to me is inherently broken, inherently poor, because they're not interested in providing a quality service for you. What they're interested in is farming your information and farming your data, and you know, and I just fucking hate that scenario because it's such a shitty contract that you have with Web 2 world where like they give you free services like ChatGPT and you give them unknown amounts of data that are worth an unknown amount, and you're getting an unknown amount of value from them. It's this very like, you know, ambiguous, rather than like you give me X and I give you Y. It's clearly defined. You don't have that in the Web3 space for the most part. That's kind of scary to me extent. So the idea is more about bringing AI to be competitive, and not only competitive, but that produce a better product than what it's possible for big tech to do. That's kind of the driving force behind the notion. And then the other idea I have is it's in the blockchain space, but it's not for blockchain people. It's a blockchain project by technical implementation, but it's not for crypto people. It's for people outside of crypto, and I think that's where we've kind of forgotten in some sense, just because it's a lower hanging fruit in this industry in general. Is we want to use blockchain for blockchain people because it's kind of lower hanging fruit in a sense. THORChain is definitely that. THORChain is producing, you know, swaps cross chains and for people who hold Bitcoin or hold Ethereum or Dogecoin or what have you. But the technology is much more transformative than that, and it kind of saddens me a little bit that, you know, that we use this technology for like predominantly gambling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that the really funny line. I don't know how many Marvel fans are out there in this world, but like there's a funny line in Marvel's Avengers and Age of Ultron, where Ultron's making fun of the humans, and he has like the cap sword, and he says like they have the most powerful technology ever, and what they do with it, they produce a frisbee. with the whatever the name of that metal is, I forget the name right off the top of my head. And it's kind of like that. It's this blockchain technology is incredibly powerful, and it can make some of the most important shifts in our societies we've seen in over 1,000 years. And the predominant use case we're using it for is, you know, leveraged betting. Do you know what I mean? And meme coins and other things that are just, I mean, they're good to have. I don't want to shit on those things, but it's not, it's kind of missing the scope of like, no, this could actually like fundamentally change society. And that's, to me, that's just not meme coins or perpetuals or these kinds of things that really take up the majority of like the capital in the space. So my other project I'm actually working on white paper right now for is about how do we use blockchain technology to actually to help and support society outside of crypto in a significant way. And that's that. I'm not going to go into more detail than that, but that's my current thinking.
Nice. Well, maybe to kind of bring it all back to THORChain, you know, Patriotsounds was talking about how important it is. And I see THORChain the same way, like something is adding a lot of value, not just to crypto, but I think the world in general. You know, eventually we're going to get real world assets on chain, and, you know, to go be cross chain, all those assets, all those tokens, it's, you know, THORChain is the nexus, right? It's going to make all that possible. So that's what keeps me going, keeps me engaged.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, you know, if you fix the money, you fix the world. And we have other projects trying to go to the, like Chad's angle of getting the normal person into blockchain, like Mocha, where they're going to use the decentralized liquidity pools of Maya protocol and THORChain as a settlement layer for buying goods and services. And this works because it's cheaper, right? Because, you know, credit cards, they charge what, like 150 to 300 basis points. You know, Mocha, they don't have to even charge a fee on the affiliate side for really low swaps, right? So removing this entire middleman, redefining everything. I mean, there are so many optimizations that can be made. I mean, we have one shot to remove or to liberate the world from this fiat catastrophe that we have. And THORChain, to me, is the center of that. It's so absolutely important. I mean, that's what, and I'm glad you came up, Chad, because the reason why I'm in THORChain is from his 2020 videos of him talking about the ethos of THORChain. Because before that, I was thinking like, yeah, Bitcoin's great, but there's just this really big problem of centralized exchange custody. And then I heard him talk about, I'm like, this is it. I clicked right away in my brain and flew out and met him and got involved. And so Chad, whatever you build, I'm interested in, because, and I'll help you promote it any way I possibly can, because we have a proof of concept here. Your THORChain idea, as well as Heimdall and JP and all the others, it's changing the world, man. It's great stuff.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Maybe at some point when I'm ready, I'll make a public announcement. But that isn't today. That isn't now. My first goal, most important goal, is to kind of shepherd THORChain as much as I can and help it, at least recover to a better place and get TCY out there, maybe some app layer out there, et cetera, et cetera, and support any way I can to get us on a better footing we are today.
And thank you for sharing Kenton and I's posts about getting people to bond the rune. I think we had tremendous success, and I appreciate you using your platform and your reach to help us do that. And we're going to keep pushing really hard on that this next week too. I mean, we're not going to stop. I think Kenton made a really good post the other day, guys, where he just talked about, why limit this goal? Yeah, Ruggiero, we want to get that off the ground, but let's say we do, which I think we will. We're going to keep going, right? We're going to maximize the security budget as much as we possibly can. So yeah, thanks for that. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Anybody else want to say something? Jump up. Somebody's mind?
13 Heavens, is your hand up?
Yeah, just speaking about making THORChain better, I'm super excited for base layer level order books for arbitrage, so we can compete a little bit better with Chainflip. I've heard some rumors that Chad might be working on that, and we might see an early implementation of that on Maya. So super excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been advocating for limit orders for years now, and I actually had the code done and merged. There were still some thin bugs to iron out or whatever with it, but it was 90% done. And I was merged on the mainland there, and it just never got kind of flipped on, which I was always quite disappointed about. And I was always trying to get it there, but there's just too much resistance elsewhere. And whether or not limit orders are coming back on the base layer or not, that's something I don't know, to be honest with you. I think the intention was to put it on the app layer. And I'm not really for that or against necessarily. I think as long as we have limit orders and it's executed in an efficient way, and I don't know the design implementation details of how they designed it on the app layer to make sure it's efficient. But to me, I don't matter. It matters less where it's implemented with something like that as base or on the app layer. I mean, it makes more sense to be base, to be honest with you. If I just zoom out and think objectively, it makes more logical sense for something like this to be on the base layer rather than the app layer. But I suppose it doesn't really matter that much as long as it can do what it needs to do. But right now, there's no intention to do that right in this current moment. Although I would prefer to see it.
Yeah.
Well, the
Alex,
idea for limit orders on the app layer is more for retail investors, right? Or are they trying to get arbitrage trading on the app layer too?
Exactly. I think Alex made a bunch of posts about this a few weeks back. Base layer order books would almost exclusively be for arbitrageurs to allow for rapid swaps on the base layer, and something that exists on the app layer would be retail focused, or at least that's how he envisions it, and we've talked about it, and that's how I see it as well.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, that's interesting.
So I think the idea is on layer one, our bots are using trade assets, which are not secured in essence, and but they're sophisticated. They understand the risks, blah blah blah, And so it's just really trade assets are really just for those sophisticated traders. Whereas, it's not retail aren't using trade assets. They can, if they can figure it out, they can get in there and do it, right? But they're not. So the app layer is for retail, where things need to be simplified, but then also be made more secure for them, so they're more comfortable. That was my understanding of the difference between the two.
Yeah, that's how I saw it. I was even like we were talking about it the other day, Alex and I, and he was even saying that it's unlikely that a base layer order books would even get a front end implementation because it's almost exclusively for sophisticated people like arbitrageurs.
Yeah, exactly. So it wouldn't compete basically. So if anyone's worried about app layer competing with app layer, it's not. They're two totally different things.
The whole point of it would be to make app layer more efficient as well, right? Because the app layer trades against the base layer.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
And we just need arbitrageurs to have the best price execution possible, because ultimately THORChain stays ahead so long as it can provide the cheapest swap, relative to its liquidity. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, they don't really conflict. Because I remember that was a whole thing like 3-4 weeks ago, but we quickly figured out, it'd be better for a sophisticated art bot to use that. And then Ruggira can handle that side of the equation.
Exactly.
Well, Kenton, we've gone on almost 3 hours now. My dad just called me. I gotta. I think
you in trouble?
No, I take care.
I got this the meme of the dad walking in the door. How you doing, son?
Yeah.
And
a little old for that right now, but yeah. No, I gotta take care of him. So I gotta drop, guys. But I hope you guys keep going if the goods go. But yeah, thanks everybody. I really appreciate it. This has been a great space, and yeah, we're gonna win. Bond your rune, raise the bond. Damn it, and share the space one last time, guys. Make sure people can hear this recording. We got really so many exciting things going on. So this is a great time. But thanks everyone. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Patriot. And maybe we should wrap things up. Does anybody else have something they want to say or bring up?
No, I have to leave too, but I wanted to take a moment to just say, Chad, I haven't had a chance to read your Discord post yet. It's kind of in my bookmarked list of things to read, but it's really, really glad. I'm really, really glad to have you back for a lot of reasons. So it's really, really good to see you around again, man.
Holy shit.
Thanks, Wei. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
We'll send on that. We're all happy to see Chad back. Great to have you back, man. And hope to hear in more spaces, see more in the community. This is great. It's good, guys.
Yep.
Awesome.
Let's fucking go.
All right.
Let's fucking go.
LFG. All right.
Raise the bond.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.